From Los Angeles, California, welcome back to an NHL Watchalong on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. It's an important Western Conference battle from LA as the Kings welcome the St. Louis Blues to town with a pivotal 2 points up for grabs. Welcome into the broadcast, everybody. My name is Jaric Rubel. That right there is Jake Elder. And as we mentioned, this is a very pivotal game in this Western Conference matchup as it stands right now. The St. Louis Blues come into this game with 73 points in the standings, 4 back of the Nashville Predators, who hold the final wild card spot with 77 points. And the LA Kings, they're just 1 point back as they're at 76 points, but currently struggling here at home and about to start a 6-game homestand, Jake.
Yeah, we've seen that the Kings have struggled at home, and as you mentioned, they start this homestand with 6 games, and previously they had a 6-game homestand to start the break after the Olympic break, and they only went 2-4 during that. So this will be very big for them and obviously very important.
And they have brought in Artemi Panarin from the New York Rangers at the trade deadline. He's playing insane right now. He's got 7 goals and 11 assists. That's 18 points in his first 17 games with the Kings. And he's been a big part as to why they're still in this race.
Yeah, what a pickup for them. He's probably their top guy, I would say, right now, carrying them along this playoff push. So we'll look for him to continue to do what he's doing with this on power play and 5-on-5.
And these Kings, I mean, we're talking about them in the sense that, like, they're kind of been, very run-of-the-mill. They're having bad luck at home, but they're only 4 points back of Vegas for third in the Pacific, Jake. And while it seems kind of like an outlandish thought, they do have 2 games in hand, and Vegas isn't exactly winning games that they should be, and we'll see if Torts changes that. But it's still a possibility we could see LA Edmonton or LA Anaheim, the freeway face-off.
Yeah, quite a change for Vegas. I still can't believe that happened with the coaching change so late in the season. And, I mean, it could help. It could hurt them, though, because they haven't been the team that we thought or expected going into the season. But you mentioned the Kings, 1 point out of the playoffs and have that. It all came down to these overtime wins. The Blues 4-11 in overtime and shootout, and the Kings have gotten their extra points, and it looks to me that that's going to be the difference down the line here in this Western Conference playoff push.
And the Blues, their month of March has gone almost as good as it ever could, just like last year, to keep them in this race. And Monday against San Jose, that was a major setback, but the St. Louis team has, bolstered their way all the way up to a shot at a playoff spot. But in a race with no margin for error, that goal with 20 seconds left to the Sharks on Monday definitely stings.
Yeah, that was a game for them to come out and play pretty much 30 minutes of bad hockey, down 4-2, and was able to play a stellar third period, control the pace of play. The Sharks had basically 0 to none O-zone time, and the Blues controlled it, make it 4-4, all to let a goal in with 20 seconds off an unfortunate push off an icing, and now the Sharks come away with 2 whole points, and the Blues are no longer in the driver's seat.
And it's a big swing in the Western Conference, especially if the Blues are to lose this game in regulation tonight. And Jim Montgomery, head coach of the St. Louis Blues, we were watching that game together on Monday night to prepare for tonight. And he had more of like a dumbfounded look on his face. It was more like he was shocked he wasn't getting the compete out of his players that he expected out of, to start this road trip for LA as they're in the 3-game California swing.
Yeah, I watched every minute of that game, and for the first 5 minutes, it seemed the Blues were playing their game, controlling the pace, and the Sharks were kind of scrambling. And then, I like you said, confused is the way I would react as a coach for this team. They were letting the Sharks walk around them, dance around them, no control, no composure, and then second period intermission comes, and they come out and play that stellar third period, all for nothing at the end of the day. So it's going to be something they're going to have to look forward to, a strong start here. But in LA, the LA Kings are a different team than the Sharks. It's slow, much different pace of play. So it'll be quite the interesting start.
And you kind of alluded to it, Jake. With the hot start, the Blues are going to want to get off to and control the game. But it's like, how do you bounce back from a loss like that in the locker room? Because you see the faces of the players on the bench when that goal happened. Joel Hofer, who had his first bad game in what feels like 3 months. you got to find a way to just put it behind you and get ready for the next one.
And I think they'll be okay to do that. I don't think it's going to live with them because they know it's not over. It's just more difficult than it was. But yeah, Hofer was very, very pressed. And honestly, I think I was mentioning it to you before we went on air. I think that the Blues should have had Binnington in that game. I mean, Binnington and Hofer are 1-1. I know Hofer's been playing better, but Binnington's four games, 4 of his last 5, I believe he's won. So it's not like he's off. And for them to throw Hofer in there and it happened the way it did, now they're bouncing to Binnington. So we'll hope for a good bounce back from the Blues and see if the Kings can figure it out at home.
So it's the Blues and the Kings from Crypto.com Arena in LA. Don't go anywhere. We'll have the opening faceoff just on the other side. You're listening to this NHL Watchalong on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube page with Jaric, Rubel, and Jake Elder. Back in a moment for faceoff. Welcome back into Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles. Jaric Rubel with you here alongside Jake Elder on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. Kings and Blues set for face-off here in this one. A pivotal 2 points on the line in the Western Conference standings. As it looks like for Jim Montgomery's Blues, he's going to start with the Dvorsky, Stenberg, and Berggren line. And between the pipes for them, it's going to be Jordan Binnington, who's 12, 19, and 6 on the year. 333 goals against average and an 873 save percentage. Not great. Has 1 shutout on the year. He'll go up against Darcy Kemper. 18, 14, and 3 for him on the campaign. A 2.67 goals against average and 896 save percentage. And 2 shutouts.
Yeah, the Blues are 11-3-2 since the Olympic break. And we will look forward to them starting this first 10 minutes of the game. That's where it's going to come down to. And here we go. Puck drop is underway.
So the Kings control off the opening face-off, attacking right to left here on home ice, wearing their home black uniforms with silver trim and silver lettering and numerical numbers on their jerseys. The Blues attacking left to right in their road white uniforms with the blue pants and the blue numbers and lettering, yellow trim on the arms and the bottom part of the jersey. Down to our left, it's Panarin getting a return pass behind the goal from Kopitar. Up top to Edmondson, left point. Across it goes, and a flip shot goes off the pads of Binnington. Controlled now by Parayko, who on the far wing gets it ahead to the red line. And now it pinballs back to him. He'll cross the logo at center and dump it in as the Blues change 45 seconds into this game. So down to our right now behind the LA goal. Edmondson in the near corner. Up the left wing for Byfield. Played it ahead. It goes down over the Blues blue line. Broberg will play it back, and now it deflects into the Kings bench. So with 58 seconds gone by, we get our first stoppage in the game tonight.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a game that comes down to special teams. It's going to be big deciding factor in the late playoff push that we're in. As we see the shot from the point and pucks bounce in front of Binnington, but controlled nicely by Parayko to get it out of the
That was a nice tip by Kopitar.
I I didn't actually catch it.
Yeah, no, Kopitar got that between the circles, and Binnington with the good right pad save. Face off here in front of the King bench, going to be won by St. Louis as Snuggerud on the ice here with Thomas and Holloway. Snuggerud was taken off that top line in the third period in San Jose. Centering pass for Thomas, shot it over the over the crossbar, got the glass. Now Snuggerud from the right wing circle, put it over the boards to the far corner, and it trickles now out to center. Logan Mailloux back on it, played it in front of the LA bench, and now Broberg ahead for Snuggerud in the slot in the LA zone. Got poke checked from behind. Penalty coming up, though, on LA as a hook's going to go against Byfield and the Blues to the game's first power play tonight.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice move by Snuggerud. Looks like he got perplexed by the penalty there on the Kings. You mentioned Logan Mailloux was back there with 3 Kings coming at him. He was actually on goal for all 5 of the goals the Sharks scored last game. So it'll look for him to have a bounce back.
So this Blues power play this season, they're struggling at the moment. They're 28th in the league. The Kings PK, not much better, 29th in the NHL. Faceoff coming up to the right of Forsberg as the Blues control off the faceoff and they begin their power play. Dvorsky to Mailloux beyond the circles. To the near side now, a puck gets poke checked out the center. Going after it, Scott Lawton for LA. He's in a foot race with Mailloux, and Mailloux did a good job to stick it away, but it came back to Lawton, who raced it down in the trapezoid, but he'll just surrender possession back to St. Louis, and now Pius Suter will leave it behind for Logan Mailloux. 20 seconds gone by on this power play. It's powered by YouTube. Subscribe to the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel that you're listening to right now. So into the LA zone, right wing, Bushnevich goes after a puck in the near corner. He's tied up with the pair of Kings, trying to dig it out. Suter got it to the back. Up top, it's Mailloux. Long wrister, shattered his stick. Here comes LA the other way, shorthanded, a breakaway for Byfield. He gets tripped up by Dvorsky. That's going to be a penalty. Will it be a penalty shot? No, it won't. As we'll go to 4-on-4 here at 74 seconds to go on that Blues power play that has now gone awry.
I was going to mention the Blues have scored 3 power play goals in their last 4 games, and they've scored a power play goal in 3 of their last 4 games. But this power play will go away as we're turned to 4-on-4 after a broken stick and a charge for the loose puck.
Logan Mailloux just put into no man's land, and then Dvorsky just trying to get back on the back check. I don't know if that was a good penalty to take, but it did prevent a breakaway opportunity, and 4-on-4 is not the worst thing in the world.
Correct. And there was another King right beside him. Could have gotten the loose puck there, too.
So 4-on-4 this year. The Kings 1 goal for, none against. The Blues 2 goals for, none against. So neither of these two teams have surrendered anything at 4 skaters aside. Face off here to the right of Binnington. It'll be Robert Thomas against Quinton Byfield with 17:48 to go in the opening period.
I think Dylan Holloway is going to be a guy we got to watch tonight. He had a great game last game. Look for him to be on the score sheet.
So now getting tossed out of the face-off circle is Byfield. In steps Trevor Moore. As now he'll oppose Robert Thomas here down in the face-off circle in the near side to our left. Face-off won by Moore. To the back, Doughty. His shot. Left pad save made by Binnington. Rebound in behind for Cam Fowler. Plenty of games against this LA franchise, being a longtime Anaheim Duck. Got it ahead for Holloway. Fanned on the initial pass. Now got it to Thomas, but he was trying to change. And now took it away from Trevor Moore in a whistle. And I think they're going to call offsides as Holloway was still in the zone. And Thomas doesn't like that, but the whistle does go with 57 seconds left on 4 skaters aside.
Yeah, a little scrappy start to this game. We can look at the Kings here, though, have an active 10-game home point streak against the St. Louis Blues. They are 7-0-3 in their last 10 games dating back to just a couple of days, or March 5th, 2021.
And each of the last 4 meetings between these two teams has gone to overtime as well, as the Kings have won each of the last 3 games that these two teams have played. As the Blues now control with 40 seconds left on 4-on-4 time in front of the penalty boxes. Here's Colton Parayko, the longest tenured Blue. Wrists it around, and it is going to be whistled for an offsides. So 17:10 to go, first period of play. Still scoreless. Blues looking for their first shot. LA with 2 thus far.
Yeah, we're going to look at this as a playoff-like game. It should be a tight checking first. No one wants to give up that first goal. So that seems like the script we're getting right now.
And we mentioned we watched that Blues and Sharks game, to study for this one, and we were kind of talking how those 2 points might be very crucial down the stretch for the Blues that they lost, because you have 2 games against Colorado. You have Anaheim coming up on Friday, who's now desperate to try to win their division. So it's not going to be easy. I mean, end of the season, you have Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Utah. The schedule's not the best, so those points were very valuable that they ended up not getting on Monday night. But into the Kings zone they come as Snuggerud set up Broberg in with a shot from the left wing circle that didn't make it to the net. In that near right wing side, here's Snuggerud in the slot. Mayu missed the net with a one-timer. To the far wall, here's Broberg. Put it back behind for Thomas. Let it ride to Snuggerud in the trapezoid. Sitting on 17 goals this season. Played it up high to Thomas. Robert Thomas. Far circle, here is Mayu down to our right. Driving behind the King net. Pulled up in the far corner to his forehand. Now left it for Thomas. He spins on Clark. Thomas, far corner, waiting for his Blues teammates to change. Played it up top, but it got taken away by Lawton. Chopped back to Dumoulin. And now the Kings will wait as they change and get possession back. They have 35 seconds now of power play time. So Brant Clark on a return pass from Kempe at the logo. Played it ahead Laferriere. Nudged for Kopitar down to the far right wing corner down to our left. Pinned up against the glass by Fowler. Puck squirted up to Kempe. He's unable to hold it in. And he resets back out the center. 15 seconds left on the power play. 16 minutes left in period one. An entry by Laferriere was cut off by St. Louis. And now up ahead, almost 2-on-1 was developing between Parayko and Stenberg, but it went off a weird spot on the boards, and back in come the Kings. Panarin left wing. To the far wall, it's Kempe. Played it to the near corner. Now Anze Kopitar looks. Kempe now. Trade spots with Kopitar. He sets up front of the net. Kempe with the puck left wing. Played it up top. Panarin. Across at the far point. Clark can't hold it. Torpchenko got it out. He's trying to get after it. Tried to poke it past Anderson. Couldn't. Penalty time now up as we're back to full and equal strength here. 5 skaters aside in this opening period. St. Louis here with the 4th line on the ice. Jack Finley trying to chip it over the King blue line, got it back. Now from the near side, gets sandwiched against the boards by Turcotte. Got it into the zone. Torpchenko, a shot from the slot, sticked aside there by Forsberg. His first save of the game. As it now caroms back to center, and the loose puck's controlled by Broberg. On the near side, now it's Justin Hull, acquired from Detroit in the Justin Falk trade at the trade deadline. Played it ahead for Thomas at the logo. Near wing Holloway over the King line from the right circle. A shot went off Anderson's leg in behind. Now in front, it came to Forsberg off a weird bounce. He'll end up covering it with 14:52 to go here in period number 1. So while we get a moment, let's look at these Blues lines, as we had a lot of chaos here in the first 5 minutes, as Thomas is on the top line with Holloway and Snuggerud. Bushnevich between Kyrou and Neighbors. Dvorsky with Berggren and Stenberg. And then the 4th line of Finley, Torpchenko, and Suter. The deep pairings are Broberg with Mayu, Lindstein with Parayko, and Fowler with Justin Hull. So face off here to the right of Anton Forsberg is the top line. Thomas, Snuggerud, Holloway back on the ice. They win the face off. To the back, it's Lindstein. Long wrister didn't make it to the net. Might have been blocked by Doughty or his own man Holloway. On the near left wing, it's Moore up ahead for Byfield, chipping it into the St. Louis zone. Rolls behind the goal, and in the trapezoid, Binnington played it far wall for Lindstein. Up on the left wing, Holloway. Backhand pass at the logo for Parayko's collected. Skates over the King line right wing, put it around the goal. Up the far boards it goes. Back behind to Thomas in the far corner. Robert Thomas now from low to high, being defended by Doughty. Backhanded down low to Holloway. He's now up at the far point. Backhanded this way to the near circle. Parayko behind the goal for Thomas. Lifted the stick of Doughty nicely and got possession. At the far circle, Thomas kicked it to the point for Lindstein. To the near side, Parayko had it at his feet. He lost it. And now the Kings play it out the other way through center. On the far wing, Laferriere dropped it over the line for Moore. Taken away by Thomas. The Blues want to change. The Kings will do the same with 6 minutes gone by here in the first period.
Yeah, good rotations there by the Blues. Just couldn't find an open cross-ice pass as they kept cycling along the boards.
There's no icing here as the linesman waved it off. Looked like it almost was going to be icing on Cam Fowler, but we play on. As behind the King goal, it's Brant Clark sending it up in front of the penalty boxes. Panarin mishandled it. There to help him out, though, is Dumoulin. Out to the logo again, it's Clark twisting his way over the Blues line. Avoided a collision, dropped it off Panarin. He almost went knee-on-knee with the Blue, and now it's poked ahead, and Kyrou's out. Up on the far wing, he has Edmondson to beat. Drug it through his legs. Far left wing circle. Taken away Panarin nicely. He had to find it. Couldn't clear it. Now Dvorsky with with it for Kyrou. Dances in the slot with a shot. Blocked by Clark to the near corner. Here's Kyrou again. The near circle, Dvorsky got poke checked. Trying to stay with it's Dvorsky for the Blues. Got it to Kyrou. Right back to Dvorsky. They're tying up with one another. Now in the trapezoid, Kyrou has it. Left in front. Cleared to the far wall by Edmondson. Up high, Kyrou a shot. Came down in the slot. Now Kopitar will collect for LA. As in his own zone down to our right. He plays it off the far glass. And it gets to center. Blues quickly resetting as the Kings are changing. Near wing Berggren's in. Right wing circle. Tried a shot far side off the blocker at Kemper. It went. Back to Berggren's stick it goes. Far wing. Skates to the slot. Up high. Threw it towards the net. Didn't make it on net. Behind the goal. Mayu wraparound. Right pad save made by Forsberg. Now in the slot. A takeaway. Here's a shot. Dvorsky save made by Forsberg. Rebound to the near wall. And it's taken on out by the Blues. And they reset here at center. Here's Broberg. Back on the near wing, it'll be twisted back by Berggren, but not into the LA zone. And now it's taken back by Jaric.
There was a couple great scoring chances there by the St. Louis Blues. On the forecheck, they always have that fourth defender come in and keep the puck in and keep cycling around.
And if you might have heard, I said Anton Forsberg. I apologize, as earlier there was Darcy Kemper rumors to start, but it ended up being Anton Forsberg last minute, and all my things highlighted said Kemper, and I just kind of went with it and completely forgot. So apologize for that, as Forsberg just took one off the helmet on a shot by Parayko. Follow-up Toropchenko between the dots is swallowed up by Forsberg, who came out on top of the blue paint to challenge. And that'll send us to our first commercial break of the night. We're scoreless so far through 7 minutes in LA. You're listening to the Blues and Kings on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. Welcome back into Los Angeles, where we're still scoreless between the Blues and the Kings. Jaric Rubel with you alongside Jake Elder, as we're through the first 7 minutes here in this opening period, as a pair of saves were just made before the break by Anton Forsberg, and an ozone draw coming up here for the Blues to his right. Top line of Thomas, Holloway, and Snuggerud on the ice, but they lose this draw to Byfield, as behind the Kings net, a takeaway forced by Holloway. Wraparound try, left pad save made by Forsberg. Rebound behind to the far court. It's Thomas, To the back, it's Lindstein. Played it behind for Mikey Anderson. Around the goal on the near side, it comes up to LA's Byfield. On the near wing, LaFerriere over the Blues line, left wing. Put it down to the circle. Moore tries to put on the brakes. He got poke checked. Now Thomas takes it away, and Snuggerud's up the right wing boards. Left it on the near side for Holloway. Over the line. Tried a return feed that was poked behind by Anderson. And now puck was played with a high stick, but they let it go as the Kings touch it. And now out to center, the puck pinballs around. Trying to locate it was Thomas, but it came to Byfield. And he plays it back as the Kings change their forward core. 11 minutes left here in period number one, as in the blue zone down to our left, trying to dig it out were St. Louis, but it came to Kempe, and his shot didn't make it to the net. And now Kyrou out the other way through center on the far wall. Neighbors will chip it in. Behind the LA goal to our right. Goes to the trapezoid. 3 Kings and 2 Blues try and dig it out. Came to Neighbors near right side, but it was played with a high stick, says the official. So a stoppage with 10:47 to go in the first.
It's a great pace of play to start this game, going both ways. There's been constant action in the neutral zone, getting possession and good zone entries. Not very much dumping and chase. It's been a lot of carry the puck in and try to set it up.
And the Blues have had the last 5 shots on goal. The Kings had them 3-1 in shots, and now it's 6-3 in favor of the Blues as their fourth line's on the ice. Face off here in front of the penalty boxes, controlled by the Blues as Finley won it to Mayu. Across it goes to Broberg, who snaps it into LA ice. To the near side it goes. Edmondson up the boards. Panarin will go rink wide off the skate of Kopitar, or I should say off the skate of Kempe, as it goes to Kopitar now in the far corner. Leaving it in the corner, Kempe now. Skates from low to high, up top Clark. One-timer, right pad save Binnington. Up the near boards it goes and out to center. The Blues have it. Here's Finley over the King line, right wing boards. Chipped it in down low. Toropchenko gets taken to the boards by Clark. Puck free to the near corner. Up it goes to the right point hole. His shot hit a body in the slot. Pinballed up now through center for Panarin. And now on the left wing, he's over the Blues line. Tried to hit Kempe, but it was taken away by Hull. Now Hull on the far left wing out to center. Got over the King line and chipped it in as the Blues are changing with under 10 minutes left now in this first period. I'm Jaric Rubel. That's Jake Elder. Glad you're with us here late on a Wednesday night on the Ultimate Sports Media channel. As behind the St. Louis goal to our left, it's played up to Kyrou. Tried to give it to Neighbors. He's tied up with Armia. The puck's still in front of him. Armia knocked it over to Lawton. Left wing side at the circle. His shot shouldered off by Binnington. Rebound to the far point. Doughty. He hammered one. Swallowed up by Binnington. As those two Canadian Olympians take on each other, is Binnington able to squeeze that Doughty shot for a whistle.
Yeah, 2 miscommunications in a row. Broberg and Mayhew in the back allowed the Kings to get a chance, and then that puck sitting on the line seemed like nobody wanted to pick it up and resulted in a Kings shot, but Binnington with the save.
9:36 remains. First period of play. Still scoreless in LA. You're listening to this NHL Watchalong on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. Welcome back here in Los Angeles. Jaric Rubel alongside Jake Elder with you on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. As we're scoreless still between the Kings and the Blues, as we're still looking for this icebreaker, as the first goal seems to matter for St. Louis, as they've only lost 6 times in regulation when scoring first. The Kings, however, they've lost 11 times in regulation when scoring the first goal. So we'll see who breaks the ice early in this one. But right now, it's been goaltenders action, as Forsberg and Binnington have both made some decent stops here in the opening 20 minutes thus far.
Yeah, we can talk about Anze Kopitar. He's one of the guys we watched as a kid growing up, and it's now his final season, so he looks to be playing these teams for the last time in his career.
This will be the final time he plays St. Louis, and he's on the ice now as he won a faceoff, and Panarin at the left wing circle had it taken away as he tried to feed Kempe, and now Fowler up the right wing boards for Berggren, the ex-Red Wing, over the King line, knocked it down low. Stenberg, the first-round pick from 2023, tries to get it in the near corner, but he's pressed against the boards by Doughty. Puck still at his feet, trying to dig it out with Dumoulin for the Kings. It squirted up to center, and now taking it back is Lindstein. But go ahead on Kopitar, Jake.
Yeah, it's he's set to play his 68th and final regular season game against the Blues in his career. He's got 60 in those 67 games. He has 65 points, so about a point per game versus the St. Louis Blues.
And we saw last night on the network Alex Ovechkin have 2 goals against the Philadelphia Flyers as I brought that game to you guys, and kind of the same thing. He had 84 points after that in 85 points in 82 games against the Philadelphia Flyers. So it's like you put a whole season against one organization, and the numbers you get are still pretty spectacular from these players that have been stars in this league for so long.
I did. I watched that game too last night. Ovechkin was all over the place scoring goals as consistent as it gets against the Flyers.
So behind this St. Louis net now as we focus back on this Western Conference matchup, at the left point it's slung up to Anderson. Across on the far side, Cece's tied up but got it down low. Knuckle puck in the slot got deflected by Wright. Came around now on the near side, and it comes out to center where St. Louis will take it. Thomas on the near wing gets past Anderson, pulls up on the near half boards. Now kind of got it up to the point, but Snuggeroo got in too deep, and neither player gets possession, and the Kings will take it back. Down to our right, behind the LA net, it's played on the far wall for Cece. He got tied up with Thomas. He's struggling to clear the zone, but did get it out. At the logo, it's taken right back by the Blues. Kyrou on the re-entry, right wing side at the circle. A shot, paddle save made there by Forsberg as the puck goes to the far wall. On it is Kyrou again, out of the corner. Lost possession of it as behind the LA net. Now Anderson will play it to Trevor Moore. Moore now played it up ahead out of the reach of LaFerriere, but it's going to be stashed deep by Byfield. No, it won't be. I guess he didn't get possession. This is going to be icing as that linesman, there's the linesman in this game, by the way, Steve Barton and CJ Murray. Good eyes right there. There was 3 players right near the blue line, and he was able to see that it hit none of them and call the icing.
Yeah, I think it was LaFerriere hanging out down there. He was hanging out there cherry picking, and I thought it would have hit his stick, but he wasn't complaining, so
right.
The linesman made the right call.
Ozone draw here for the Blues now to the right of Forsberg, as it'll be the line of Bushnevich, Kyrou, and Neighbors on the ice. Deep pairing of Fowler and Hull, as off the tie-up, Byfield's able to win the draws. He's still out there with LaFerriere and Moore on the near side in the King zone down to our right. Puck goes around the goal. Mikey Anderson will grab it on the far corner. He'll play it up on the right wing, and it'll be tipped in by LaFerriere. And now behind the goal is Binnington, who sticks it on the near wall. Kyrou with it, turned it over in the slot. Here comes Ward. He's in, and a right pad save by Binnington, as that was a grade A chance, the toughest one of the game for Binnington thus far, as we stay scoreless.
Yeah, Ward just picked off that puck. He saw that pass a mile away and streaked in right towards Binnington, but he makes the stop.
Now puck goes out of play with 6:50 remaining in the first period, so neutral zone face-off upcoming. Real quick, I didn't get the LA lines in through all this, as we'll get them in real quick. Kopitar with Panarin and Kempe. Byfield with Moore and LaFerriere. Lawton between Wright and Armia. And Turcotte centering Joseph, the former Blue, and Taylor Ward. Deep pairings are Dumoulin with Doughty, Edmondson with Clark, and Anderson with Cece. A very old deep pairing, as 4 of these 6 guys have been around for over a decade in this league.
Yeah, Justice Hall had to help out on Justin
Hall, yeah.
Justin Hall had to help out on that defensive stuff, help out Binnington on that turnover.
So the Blues here at center have the 4th line back on the ice. Torpchenko feeds Mayu at the logo. He'll snap it into the far corner of the King zone down to our right. Pass by Edmondson up ahead, finds Matthew Joseph as the 4th line now for LA, snaps it into St. Louis ice. Behind the Blues goal, Binnington has to play it as it came back to him off a funny bounce. As now Broberg from behind the goal up the near right wing for Torpchenko. Just had to leave it for Mayu as he was being hounded there by Brian Dumoulin. And now the Blues here just waiting for some sort of clear exit as they're still in their zone. And now Broberg will start the rush up ahead as Panarin forechecked him. At the red line now, snapped it in, heads to change to the near corner in the King zone it goes. Up for Panarin, snapped it across the ice, it'll go out to the logo, and Kopitar collects. Over the Blues line, played it into the far corner of the St. Louis zone, goes after it with Parayko. Parayko got his stick tied up with Kopitar, puck squirted to the trapezoid, and Parayko's able to backhand it on the far wall for Stenberg. Stenberg Forsberg now played it right behind, but it came to Panarin, as now Panarin from the trapezoid in the slot. Kempe can't get it on net. Now he kind of fluttered one towards Binnington, and he's able to scoop that up for a whistle with 5.5 to go. First period of play, still scoreless hockey in LA. Yeah, I know, bro. They're about to win 3 tough games. Jaric, Rubel, and Jake Elder back with you here in LA. Still nothing between the Blues and the Kings. Glad you're with me here on the Ultimate Sports Media page. I'll be with you again tomorrow for the Canucks and the Wild at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific, as Matthew Owens will return to hockey action as well. He'll have the Flyers and the Red Wings with you at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. That's a big one in the Eastern Conference. Down in this game, though, Blues and Kings, the puck's controlled by St. Louis down to our right in the King zone. Far wall at Snuggerud, trading spots with Thomas, now button hooking on the far half boards. Tried to give it to Holloway, but it's taken away LaFerriere and sent back out to center. Broberg to the logo for Snuggerud, right wing, you'll chip it in. Right on the stick of Doughty, though, it goes as he'll skate behind his own net, and up the far right wing he goes. Snapped it into the blue zone, no icing is on it. First will be Armia, is on the near left side. He left it for Lawton, played it in the slot. Far wall, here's Ceci in the slot. Armia shot, hit his own man in front as that hit Justin Wright. As now on the far side, Broberg got tripped up. Is that a penalty? It will be. And the Blues are going to go to the power play as Armia has taken down Broberg.
Yeah, once again, the Lawton line getting another opportunity front of the net. Lawton's been hustling this game. He's caused 2 turnovers to get that shot there. And now we're going to go to a power play for the St. Louis Blues.
The quality on the screen just went to 144. Pete, take your phone off Wi-Fi, by the way, if it's connected. Just a heads up. But the Blues going to their second power play tonight as they were 0 for 1 on their first try. Now Yoel Armia will take a seat as there's 4:41 to go in the first. Face off to the right of Forsberg. Going to be controlled by the Blues. Here's Pew Suter playing it down low. This quality's getting even worse on my TV now as it's straight up like, that's Cam Fowler.
Yeah.
Farwell Kyrou. Down low Suter. Suter back to Kyrou. This way for Fowler. Kicks to the stick. Across Kyrou. Left wing circle. His shot goes off the end boards. Quality's back. I can tell that's Bushnevich to the near side. Back behind it, Suter again. He's taken down cleanly. It comes up the boards and out as Fowler can't keep it in on the near side. And 30 seconds have elapsed on this Blues power play as they chase back.
I do think it's very interesting, these 2 power play units. It feels very 50-50. It doesn't seem like the top guys are in the power play one. That
is, Jim Montgomery has split that up as this top unit for St. Louis as Snuggerud Thomas, Broberg, and Dvorsky, who just played it in front for Buchnevich, couldn't connect cleanly, though. And then the lone defenseman back Fowler, as he has to get back as Trevor Moore's out shorthanded on the left wing, trying to cut to the slot, got poke checked to the far boards. Now Buchnevich takes it right back and drops it for Thomas, and the Blues will get the second unit on.
Yeah, second unit, Broberg, Holloway, Neighbors, Snuggerud out there.
So now here is the Blues back through center. Holloway on the right wing boards, going after it. Played it behind the goal on the far corner. Neighbors put it up for Thomas. Left wing, trying to play it back down low. He got it to Neighbors, as there's now half minute remaining on the power play. 3:13 to go in the first. Thomas in between the circles for Broberg straight away. Skates now to the right wing side at the point. Now back between the circles he goes to the far wall. Thomas down behind the goal line at Snuggerud. Snuggerud now left wing circle, looking for an option. Just being watched here by Doughty, as now he'll trade spots and go down low. Thomas with the puck at the far boards, controls down low. Snuggerud in the slot. Neighbors let it ride up to Broberg. Broberg between the circles. His wrister knocked down in the slot. Again, Neighbors trying to locate, put it in the far corner. Penalty time now up as the Blues still controlling the King zone. Neighbors lost it to Doughty. Played around the goal on the near side. Now Armia fresh out of the box, tied up with Holloway. Down to our right. 3 Kings and 2 Blues try to get to this puck. Snuggerud got it, but Thomas was turned around and wasn't ready for it. And now LA's out. It'll be Armia chipping it over the blue line. Into the blue zone. Behind he goes in the trapezoid. Taken to the boards by Parayko, as he stayed with it and got it to Kopitar, but Kopitar then ended up losing it to Snuggerud, and the puck's out to center and sent down into the King zone as both teams change.
Yeah, Kings protected the front of the net real well as pucks were bouncing between right in front of the blue paint, and nothing allowed, no shots, and the Kings kill off another penalty.
So in front of the penalty boxes now, Kopitar lost it as Finley took it away. Now Parayko up the right wing side past the penalty boxes again. Toropchenko got knocked down, but the puck rolled into LA ice. Now it's shot up the left wing side by Forsberg, not out. Behind the goal, Berggren. Berggren now banking it up to the far point. Fowler, half clapper, got blocked down in the slot. Picked up, though, by the Blues. Here's Berggren. A shot then off a leg to the near side. Came back to the slot, taken by Kempe as he glides by on the left wing with 90 seconds to go in the first period.
Berggren using the butt end of his stick to play defense there as he picked up his stick. It got knocked out of his hands. He was all over the ice there for the last shift.
Blues end up with it in their own zone. Is now up on the far wing. Kyrou tips it into LA ice. Behind the goal, it rose to the trapezoid on the near side. Taken by Buchnevich in the slot. Kyrou missed the net. Now on the far side, Doughty lumberjacked at it, couldn't grab it. Neighbors does, lost it now to Lawton, but he couldn't clear, kept by Kyrou. His pass goes off a leg to the far wall. Neighbors looking for it, pinned up against the boards. Now it's free in the slot. Kyrou is shot, blocked there. Came back up top. Now Broberg spinning with it. Final minute of the first, right wing side, down low in the corner to our right. Broberg muscling on top of the paint, lost possession. Bodies go flying in the blue, but the puck comes to Scott Lawton, who's free on the far wing, wants a change, and dropped it for Doughty.
Yeah, great stick work and edge work by Broberg to keep the puck in and get the puck back to the front of the net. Once again, LA crashes the net and protects Forsberg from making any difficult saves.
So 25 seconds left in the first period. Puck to our right behind the LA net. Moved up ahead now for Trevor Moore. Out to the logo. Played it on the left wing for Byfield over the Blues line. Tried to play it across, but it got cut off. Now Lindstein with it will look ahead. Play it terribly right to Mikey Anderson, as that pass was intended for Berggren, but nowhere near the St. Louis winger, as this will now end up taking us to the end of the first period as the Blues skate the final 10 seconds away, and we're scoreless through 20 minutes here tonight between the Blues and the Kings. Shots on goal, 10 shots for the Blues, 6 for the LA Kings. And when these teams are tied through 20 minutes, St. Louis 16-9-3, and the Kings 10-6-8. So those are your numbers through 20 minutes of play. Here's Jake with the thoughts through the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think that first period went as expected. It is a playoff-like atmosphere, very tight checking and very much protecting the puck. You don't want turnovers. They want to control the pace of play, control the neutral zone, don't allow for bad turnovers, and I think that's what both teams did there. And the Blues had definitely more scoring chances, but 0-0 is the score.
And that's it. Through the first 20 minutes of play, we're scoreless, so don't go anywhere. The middle frame is coming up, should open up quite a bit with the period of the long change. You're listening to the Blues and Kings on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel with Jaric, Rubel, and Jake Elder. Back soon for the middle frame. Welcome back to the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube page with an NHL watch-along that's scoreless through 20 minutes between the Kings and the Blues. Jaric, Rubel back with you here alongside my good friend Jake Elder. Shots in that first period were 10-6 in favor of the Blues. Nobody, though, found the back of the net for either side.
I think it came down to a bunch of block shots, 13 block shots compared to 5. LA was crashing the net, blocking a lot of shots. They also led the hit department, 13 hits to 5 hits. And that is the story of the first period, a tight checking defensive game with a lot of puck possession. And as you mentioned, the long change will have an effect on that and see how that changes the second period here.
Yeah, we'll see how this middle frame operates. Neither team has a goal differential that's positive in any period. If we're looking here at the game notes, all these teams, all 3 periods for each of these teams, negative goal differential. So both of these teams allow, especially in the second period. As this middle frame is underway, the Blues control attacking right to left as they try to get out of their zone. They can't. Tipped on that. More save. Binnington rebound. Another save. Binnington with the glove 15 seconds into this second period as the Blues tried to get out of their own end but immediately turned it over. And 2 chances, both for Trevor Moore, but Binnington said no.
Yeah, the shots and attempts in the first period were led by the Blues 27-13, and they also had 8 high danger chances, and the Kings right off the bat with a high danger chance.
So face off to the right of Binnington, won by the Blues' Robert Thomas. Parayko flings it out the right wing boards to center, and Holloway gets a step here, passed into the zone on Anderson, and gets that puck along the left wing for Snuggerud, put it in the slot, bounced over Parayko's blade. He's caught up, and now the forward back is Snuggerud on defense as the Kings are back into St. Louis territory. Puck taken away, Lindstein, though, as he now moved it out to center, and Thomas will finish that job, as now the top line will slowly change for the Blues. The Kings play it back through center ice. It's tipped in Panarin, and he's after it down to our right, as it'll be Binnington now sticking it away from him in the trapezoid to the near left wing for Lindstein. He played it into LA territory. It rolls on to Forsberg now, who sticked it to the far wall. Played behind the goal now to Brandt Clark. Up the right wing boards, he played it to Kempe. Skates over the red and the blue into the blue zone. Far circle, bouncing puck grabbed by Panarin, thrown through the other side, but right to the Blues. And now here's a puck taken by Neighbors back the other way. Pass for Bushnevich, taken away by the Kings at the logo. As now the top line for LA tries to get to work, but they're unable to stay in St. Louis territory. His Neighbors at the logo played it left wing for Mayu over the King line. His shot went off a leg, pinballed in front, rolled in behind. Now Kyrou with it out of the trapezoid. On his backhand, up the far wall, wrapped it back in behind. Near left wing corner, here's Neighbors tried to pull Q it ahead, but he got ran into by Kopitar. Now behind the goal is Dumoulin, who played it up the far wall, and in front of the King bench, Kempe will whack at it, and it'll roll into St. Louis ice as both teams change. 1:45 played into the second period. Broberg up the left wing, puck tipped into LA ice. After it in the near corner was Doughty. Put it right back up the near side. Pitchforked out into the blue zone, and now Hole back after it. Turned it right over. Far circle. Here's right. Backhander on net. Swallowed up Binnington on the short side, hugging the far post. And he'll hold for a whistle with 2:01 played in the second period.
2 quick shots on zone entries by the Kings. Little change of pace as the game continues.
So the St. Louis Blues here, they venture on their West Coast journey on Friday. They'll take on the Anaheim Ducks, and the Anaheim Ducks, they've kind of reeled the last couple of games. They took one on the chin against Toronto the other night. They're only 2 points up now on the division against the Edmonton Oilers, so you know Anaheim's going to bring their A game on Friday. And the Kings, they got Nashville coming to town tomorrow. They got 2 home games against Nashville in this homestand. Those are big points as they're chasing them in the wild card standings. Well, LA wins an ozone draw now to the right of Binnington. And now at the far point, here's Dumoulin slinging it back down low. Around the goal, it goes to the near side to our right. Lawton tried to poke at it. It launched its way to the slot. And now grabbed by Berggren. Nice pass through his legs to Fowler on the near side, who circles back at his own zone. And now he'll look for an outlet straight ahead. Fowler now. Far wing going to be tipped in by Finley. Into the far corner of the King zone it goes. Now it'll be Doughty up on the near side from behind the net. Got it out to center. And the Blues Toropchenko will take it right back. He'll get on his horse through center. On the logo over the blue line now. Trying a shot from the deep slot. Gobbled up by Forsberg. As he takes another whistle here. 17-10 remaining. And now some jousting between Finley and Ward. Here to the left of the LA crease. Looks like cooler heads will prevail.
Yeah, we mentioned the Blues are 10-2-2 in the month of March, second most wins, and the story of that has been the goaltending. 1.7 goals allowed for both goaltenders combined have both been playing wonderful hockey, keeping the Blues in this playoff race.
And that's what made the game on Monday so confusing against the Sharks because, yeah, 3 power play goals against, but it was just very rare to see the Blues allow stuff like that. And it was all right on top of the paint. They were not good in front of their own goalie as now a puck came down to Binnington off a weird bounce on the right wing, and Moore was breaking in. So Binnington elected to cover. So now the faceoff's going to come down all the way to our right in the in the blue zone for an LAO zone draw.
A little bit more wrestling after the puck, getting a little bit more intense. Players starting to talk it up. Intensity in front of the goaltenders.
So now face-off coming up here to the left of Jordan Binnington as the top line will work its way back out on the ice for interim head coach DJ Smith's crew. And we always talk about, Jake, those new head coaches for a team. You have to look out for them in the playoffs, as we've seen it 19 times since we've been born. A team with a new head coach made the finals, but I don't know if this Kings team's got what it takes with an interim head coach to match that trend.
Yeah, I think the Fiala injury definitely impacted them greatly. And as we got a little break here, icing.
Icing is whistled here as there's a foot race between Moore and Parayko, but the whistle goes, so a face-off comes into the O-zone now for the Blues with 16:46 to go in the second period.
Yeah, Kevin Fiala was a key part of this Kings team, but like you said, I don't trust a decor like this. We talk about playoff-wise, you need a top defenseman, and you need a couple of them to really compete in a tight-checking playoff hockey atmosphere.
Face off here to the left of Forsberg. Thomas tied up with Byfield. Puck to the corner. Thomas will play it to the back. Now getting tied up with Moore is Mayu. They're jostling for a puck. It came to the far wall for Snuggerud. In front, a bouncing puck poked away there by Forsberg alertly. Cleaned up LaFerriere. Played out to the logo. Now Byfield racing after it on the far wing with Mayu. Byfield wins that. Oh, they're going to call an offsides, it looks like here. Did not look to be the case. Or is there a penalty, perhaps? As on the far wing, it looked like there might have been a tripping signal being issued by the official, and I think we are going to get a penalty here, Jake.
Did he slash?
It was a slash.
Hands?
Yeah, so
Byfield.
Slash coming up here on Quentin Byfield. Third power play of the game coming up for the St. Louis Blues, as we'll see if they could break through here after going 0 for 2 on their first 2 tries.
Yeah, mentioned earlier, they got a power play goal in 3 of their last 4, so look for this to come through.
And in this season series against LA, they're 2-8 if you include the 2 power plays tonight against the Kings. Face off here to the right of Forsberg, Kyrou, Dvorsky, Suter, Bushnevich, and Mayu. The 5 skaters for St. Louis. Kopitar off the draw for the Kings, played it on the wing or on the near wing, but it was grabbed by the Blues. And now near circle, here's Kyrou. Return pass from Suter. Tried a shot off a skate of Edmondson, came to the far point. Mayu's not there in time to keep it in, as he has to circle back now. He pulls up in his own zone, as he'll leave it now for Bushnevich. 20 seconds gone by on this Blues power play. Straight away now into the Kings zone's Kyrou. From the far wing, he wrapped it around the goal, meeting it in the near left wing corner's Pew Suter. Twisted one in front for Bushnevich. Across to the far circle, it bounced to Kyrou. Kyrou now looking up high to Mayu. Logan Mayu searching now for a lane, goes to Kyrou, back to Mayu, left wing circle. His shot blocked off the stick of Kopitar, out of play. With a minute 22 to go on the power play, 15:48 in the second period.
2 more block shots for the Kings. They get right in these lanes, nice and setting up nice and easy in front of these pucks, and the Blues can't get much through. They got to find a way to break through these defensemen blocking these shots.
So it looks like the Blues will change them up now and get the other unit over the wing of Snuggerud with Thomas, Holloway, Broberg, and Neighbors on the ice, as they are up there now to the right of Anton Forsberg. And off the draw, Thomas wins it clean. Trying to play it to the back was Neighbors. He fell, but got it to Thomas on the near left wing. Is at that left wing dot down to our left. Down low, Snuggerud in front. Couldn't connect with Neighbors on the back door. Puck cleared out the center by the Kings, recontrolled by Broberg. 68 seconds left on the Blues power play as Holloway circles on the left side. Dropped it at the logo for Thomas. Enters the Kings zone, skates to the far wall, put it around the goal to the near side for Neighbors. Skates back through the trapezoid to the far corner. It's Thomas again. Tried to play it to Snuggerud. Snuggerud, a nice takeaway on Moore. Got it to the back for Broberg. Broberg at the far point as the Blues keep possession. Snuggerud from the far wall twisted it down low. Neighbors Trying to get it away from Doughty does. Now on the far board, Snuggerud once more. 40 seconds left on the power play. Holloway between the circles. Left it for Broberg. Now Thomas snapped it back left wing circle. Holloway toe drag. Couldn't get a shot through. And LaFerriere takes it and clears for LA. 30 seconds remain on the power play.
Yeah, Mikey Anderson with a good stick check and caused a little bit of dysfunction for the Blues.
So now back on the re-entry, Holloway dropped for Snuggerud in the slot. Thomas left it, Broberg left wing circle. Tried to throw it across for Holloway. It went off a skate to the corner. Behind in the trapezoid now Neighbors. Trying to shield on Armia. Nice pass to Thomas, left wing circle. Played it to himself, and now in front, here's a tip by Snuggerud, but went wide to the glove side of Forsberg. Behind now, here's Neighbors. Power play time expiring. Back to full strength we go, and Broberg has to get back in neutral as he couldn't hold the puck in. Yeah, now a lazy turnover as the Blues were changing. Back in on the far wings, Byfield, fresh out of the box, over the Blues line. In the slot, it's left. A backhander on that by Edmondson, shut down by Binnington, or Kempe, I should say, 9, not 6. On the far wall, the Blues Buchnevich trying to clear. Got it out into LA ice. This might go for icing, though, as he misfired, and it will be with 14:06 to go in the second.
Yeah, the tip by Snuggerud there was just less than a foot wide from his another goal, and he actually has, with one more point, Snuggerud will become the 12th rookie in franchise history to record 40 or more points in the season for the St. Louis Blues.
That comes off the heels, too, of him getting the most goals and second most points of any rookie since the Olympic break. He's got 7 goals and 8 assists in 16 games. That's good enough for 15 points.
Indeed.
Face off here to the right now of Jordan Binnington. Thomas against Kopitar. Top line against top line on the ice as Thomas wins it clean. Behind the goal, Fowler sent it up to center. It'll be twisted in by Kyrou. Behind the goal in the trapezoid, the goaltender Forsberg's out for it. Played it on his backhand to the near corner, Edmondson. Up to center, Panarin put it on the logo for Kopitar. Over the Blues line, dropped it in front of the bench for Brant Clark. Left wing boards, trying to protect on Kyrou. Backhanded one near the blue paint, came to Kopitar, chipped to the back now, and working with it is Kempe. His shot, blocked by Buchnevich, goes in behind to the trapezoid. Now to the far wall. Pass connects with Clark. Back up high, Kempe. Slid it this way, Edmondson. One-timer, blocked by Buchnevich again, or that one I should say is Berggren, as now Berggren's out to center. Played it over the logo for Kyrou on the far wing. Got it just over the LA line, but it's twisted right back up ahead in a 2-on-1. Right wing, Kempe over the line. Pass into the skates of Parayko. Came back to him, tried a shot. Blocked by Parayko again. To the near corner it goes, and up ahead for Berggren. Take it away, Panarin. Panarin driving. In the slot, dropped it. Trying to shoot Dumoulin. He missed to the glove side of Binnington. To the near left side. Now the Blues will flip it out to center past the penalty boxes. Dvorsky poked it over the King line, but playing it right back on the far wing toward are the Kings. Chipped into the Blues zone. Turcotte on top of the paint, couldn't hit Joseph. Doughty at the right side along the boards, put it down low again. The ex-Blue, Matthew Joseph, cut off nicely there by Berggren. Now it's flipped back to neutral by St. Louis, as now Doughty will play it around on the far side for Dumoulin to snap it right back in. Binnington out to play it in the trapezoid. Goes this way up on the left wing for Stenberg. His backhander rolls all the way for an icing. This whistle will go at 12:32 to go in the second. And the Blues, after being hemmed in their own end, going to be stuck there still after they're unable to change with that icing.
Yeah, that was a great shift by Kopitar. He was in front of the net, very much controlling his ground there, getting the puck, getting good passes around. Kings almost got through with one there. Real quick, though, back to Snuggerud. We could tell it's kind of cool that me and you were at the game where he had his rookie lap.
We were at that game.
It's quite the unique experience. We didn't know who he was at that time, but now we're looking at it, and it's very cool to be a part of that.
I guess I have that video on my phone. I could load it up if I wanted to into OBS and just email it and put it in there real quick. But yeah, we were at the game in St. Louis last year. He debuted against the Detroit Red Wings, and then also on these airwaves, he scored his first NHL goal against Utah, then the Utah Hockey Club.
You called his first goal?
I did. It was game 82, the game St. Louis clinched a playoff spot last year. He made it 3-0 in the first. That's what I found out. Blues fans, actually pretty cool people. Even for a Blackhawks fan myself, they treated me very well when I posted that highlight on the internet. And throughout the playoffs, they were very kind as well and supportive. So shout out St. Louis fans. You guys are pretty cool. Even as a Blackhawk fan, I got to respect you more than the Detroit folks. As when we were in that building, they definitely gave me an earful for wearing a Patrick Kane jersey, though he's on the Detroit team anyways. But we'll get back to the action here in LA. You haven't missed anything. It's still scoreless, still bouncing around in neutral ice. But now the Kings throw it on net. Binnington got ran into. The puck's in, but it's going to get waved off, and rightfully so, as Binnington got toppled over.
Just as soon as we say no action, puck it's right in front of Binnington, and two Kings crash the net, but basically shoving Binnington and the puck in the net.
So the referees Graham Skilleter and Pierre Lambert are going to huddle, as right away when that puck went in the net, Binnington was already down in the crease and they waved it off, no goal. And now we saw a play yesterday that saw Travis Sanheim kind of knock over goaltender Logan Thompson. As we have an announcement here at center, and they're going to wave it off, no goal, and it doesn't look like they're going to review it either. As I think this is
it
just
looked like it was just sitting under him and they just kind of crashed into him. Let's see. Well, that didn't look too, I don't know.
Armia does bump into him, but it doesn't look like we're going to have any complaints. And a commercial break here coming up might not do the Blues any favors, as I think they're going to want to drop this puck right away. But we're going to step aside. We'll see if when we come back, if there's a review. I kind of agree with Jake. It didn't seem too rough of contact, but Armia was down in the blue paint. And
I'm assuming a whistle might have went off as well. Obviously, we can't hear the game, but if they blew the whistle...
It's a good point as well.
That could impact the decision.
So stick around. Find out when we come back. It's only like 60 seconds. These commercial breaks are short. That's why hockey is the best. Canucks. We're back, everybody. Back here in LA, and it doesn't look like we have any word of a review yet, as the broadcast came right back and immediately started showing a replay. And I think you might be right about the whistle, Jake. That puck was under the left pad of Binnington when he was falling, and then it was kind of stabbed at when it was underneath him when it went into the net. So I think you're right. The referee probably prematurely blew the whistle.
Yeah, especially with Armia crashing in there and kind of just being right on top of Binnington, and noticed the puck was loose and definitely bumped him down also. Still 0-0.
Face off in front of the Blue or Kings bench. 11 and a half minutes to go in the second period. Puck now down to our right in the St. Louis end. Behind the goal, it's Cam Fowler. Pass up on the far right wing for Snuggerud. Played it over the middle for Holloway. Tried to get past Byfield and jumped on his back like he was going to ride him for a piggyback ride. Now on the far corner, battles with him for a loose puck. It was poked ahead, but to LaFerriere, the wrong color jersey. And the Kings get it out to center. Now at center, here's Byfield. Play blown dead. High stick was whistled. And now it'll be a face-off back in neutral with 11:02 remaining in the second.
Yeah, obviously being here, calling the game with you, I listen to all your games, and you always describe the image so much that you could see it, and that's exactly what it looked like when Holloway was on his piggyback ride trying to get over him. If you remember the old NHL games, they could flip the guy over, like if you go for a
the hip check and everything. Yeah,
it almost looked like that was about to happen.
I know our buddy Robert's listening, Robert Johnson, and he always played the video games with me back in the day. Whenever a tripping call is called when the player sprawls out on the ice, I always say they're hitting L1 and R1, try to dive to block the puck.
That's my go-to.
And I feel like as a play-by-play guy, the descriptors for like a new generation, in like 20 years, that'll be meaningful and understanding.
Yeah,
it's different, Yeah.
Old gen, new gen for sure.
So the Kings here out of their own end. Blues had a try from Kyrou, and he got a pizza at neutral ice and is right back in. And neutralized Kyrou across Buchnevich. Fanned on the shot. He didn't get a lot on it. Behind the goal, Neighbors back to Buchnevich. Worked it up high. Mayu long wrister gloved by Forsberg. Ricocheted back to the near side. Now here's Kyrou playing it back behind again. Neighbors stumbled. Having a pinch down low was Mayu. Got it near side for Kyrou. Kyrou now. Lost it. Kempe found it, played it through his legs, got it to Edmondson, and around the goal it goes, far wing. Now Panarin, out of his reach, tries to sidestep Mayu, cannot. And behind the St. Louis goal, now the Blues take possession back. Broberg up the left wing, out to center, over the logo. Now the Kings blue line right wing side. He's going coast to coast, pivoting in the far corner. Here's Broberg back in the trapezoid. Pass was intended for Dvorsky, but it found Doughty instead. And now out the center, Joseph found a touch pass for Ward over the Blues line. Lost possession, and now Parayko takes it back. Far wall, here's Dvorsky. Got cut off there at the moment by Lawton. Now back here's Parayko as he gave it to Berggren, who now twists with it here at his own blue line. Left it for Dvorsky, as now on the near side, his pass deflected off a stick, and now in front of the penalty box has found it again. And now over the King line it goes. It's bunted deep by Berggren. In the trapezoid it goes for Forsberg, the goalie to play it. Turned over in front. Dvorsky trying to bank it in, but Forsberg's able to cover as he will locate with 9:20 to go in the second period. We'll step aside again, still looking for this first goal, as I guess the Blues have found their form as they've been playing these low-scoring games. So it's not what went wrong in San Jose thus far tonight. The Kings, this is what they do as well. So, like you said, after the first, we shouldn't be surprised. We haven't had a goal yet.
This is Kings hockey. It looks like very much a Kings type of game. Obviously, we said the Blues have also translated their game into playing a low, slow scoring hockey game. So that's what we got so far. It's still great action.
Honestly, we'll just stay right here. Might as well talk about it because we got the Sharks and the Ducks also going on right now at the same time. And that's a pivotal game for the Blues and the Kings. And right now that game's tied at 1 halfway through the second period. It's 1-1 Ducks and Sharks. The goals were Smith from Celebrini, as Celebrini now has 102 points on the season. And Ryan Poehling from Hellison, and Lukas Dostal got an assist, his first point of the year. But Jake, you wanted to touch on Celebrini.
Celebrini, yeah, man. Like the real MVP talks is, I think that obviously yes, McKinnon and Kucherov are up there. Obviously McDavid is McDavid, but I think that the Avs could hold their own and still be a 500 team if McKinnon didn't exist. Celebrini without the Sharks, would they even have a win? Would they realistically? Yeah, they'd have a couple wins, but this man has double the amount of points of every player on that team. How could you're getting assists from 2 to 3 guys? Like, those guys are getting points, yet this guy still has double the amount of points. If the Sharks slide into the playoffs, that's my MVP, and I would stand by that with everything.
So then this begs the question as well. If Celebrini's the MVP, as we're going to return to play here in a second, but is Ryan Warsofsky a Jack Adams winner? Is he a finalist? Because there's a lot of Jack Adams candidates this year, because we see on the stats in front, we could have a potential 8-team turnover in the playoffs. And obviously the Jack Adams Award tends to go to coaches that turn their teams around, and there's a lot of candidates this year.
This is true, yes. It depends on who really makes that impact. Was it the players? Is it the coach really? And so that is a good one to shout. But we do have a back to action here.
Blues win a draw to the left of Forsberg. Faceoff circle down to our left in the far corner. Now it's bouncing on the far side. That loose puck is trying to clear at the moment. It was Byfield, lost it in the slot. Here's a shot. Holloway blocked out a play off a CC skate. And a whistle with 9:05 remaining in the second.
They just continue to boost these block shot stats. I feel as if they could, get around. Kings are leading in shots 15-12 now as it's flipped on its head. Was 10-6, and now that it's completely doubled the other way. Blues got to find a way to get around these defenders.
Yeah, Kings with 15 block shots in this game so far. They had 12 after the first period, so they're staying on their block shot ways. As a face-off here to the right of Forsberg is controlled by the Blues, shot by a hole, and it was knuckling towards Forsberg. Thomas was in the area, but he ends up gloving it, does the King netminder Forsberg, and a whistle again with 8:59 to go in period 2.
Yeah, that one might have been tipped by a King there trying to block it. We have the playoff push, remaining schedules of the, I guess, level of competition.
And I was thinking we should give an intermission show here in the second intermission, because I think we could just blabber on here about what we think's going to happen down the stretch and in the playoffs. And I think we don't need a script or anything, any rundown. We're just going to talk.
We can talk about it all night for sure.
So look forward to that. Don't go anywhere in the intermission if you're curious about the end of the regular season and our thoughts on the playoffs. It'll be a fun conversation. Jake and I think, provide a more unique outlook than most other people do, and I'm not saying that to put others down. I just think after watching the sport for over a decade, some of the stuff we talk about, just it isn't mentioned on a regular airwave.
Yeah, we commit to the little things and finding the small details, and we bounce off each other well, so it creates for very good conversation with both sides, good and bad.
So in front of the penalty boxes, the Kings' fourth line went to get into the blue zone, but it ends up being offsides as Joseph was looking to get into the zone, but Lawton was already ahead. So another whistle, 8:24 to go here in the second. We're still scoreless. The shots on goal are 15-13 in favor of the Kings. If you're just now joining the broadcast, you can see on top of the screen, my name is Jaric Rubel. I didn't put Jake's name in there. Apologize for not putting you on top of the ticker there.
I see it.
But yeah, that's Jake Elder. He's joining me here tonight. I'm sure he'll join me for some playoff games as well. But I know you coach volleyball and softball, so you got a busy schedule throughout the spring.
Indeed. But coaching has opened my eyes to seeing this game in such a different way.
Almost a penalty there on Kyrou. The fans wanted one as Doughty was taken down. They're not going to get it as the puck now rolls back into St. Louis ice, but Broberg takes it away from the Ferrier, got on his horse up ahead, lost it to Byfield. He played it back and ended up finding Mayu. He's into the King zone, far corner Kyrou. Wrapped it around the King net to the near point. Again, Broberg along the wall, Neighbors lost it, poked back out the center by LA. And now Broberg recollects with 7:50 to go in the second period. Pass up ahead over the King line, taken back by Doughty as LA now on the near side gets into the blue zone. Here's Byfield in the slot, trying a shot that was left pad save made by Binnington. Now on the left wing, here the Blues out to center. Bushnevich over the logo for Mayu, dropped it off Kyrou in the slot. A shot off the tip of the glove of Forsberg, rebound in behind to the near side. Grabbed by Mayu. Mayu threw it across to the far wall. Here's Stenberg, or I should say Berggren. Berggren dropping it off now for Mayu. He's at the end of a shift. Is it? It is. Good eye.
Yeah. He brought it right behind the line. Not sure why.
It's your boy Logan Mayu trying to keep it in.
It looked... don't get me started on him. I don't want to talk too bad. I don't want to give him one game, but I watch one game and...
Don't feel bad. I've really grilled some players on here before.
He was the epitome
Luke
of
Shen
it.
and Logan Stanley have heard the absolute worst from me on the airwaves. As Buffalo, I don't know what they're going to do with though. We could talk about that again in the intermission. That's just a bunch of stuff we'll be able to touch on. So stay tuned for the intermission. It's going to be fun end of the regular season and playoff discourse. So face off in front of the Blues bench, won by St. Louis. Pius Suter is on the far wall. It's tipped into the King zone. Behind the goals, Brant Clark for LA. Put it up the right wing boards, trying to get it out to Kempe. Kempe got tied up by Lindstein. Scored his first career NHL goal to open the scoring, did Theo Lindstein in San Jose on Monday. As now the Kings have to make Lindstein turn back as it's shot into St. Louis ice. On the right wing boards, Kempe put it down low. Around the goal, it came to Panarin, far boards. Works it up high, had a shot go off escape. Bunted up by Toropchenko, now to Suter. And over the logo, he skates. Now the Kings blue line. Put it right into the glove of Edmondson. Now takes him to the boards. Pressured off the puck. The Blues are going to get it. On the far wall. Trying to dive in as Dvorsky. I think he should have let Suter get that puck, but they keep it anyway. As behind the goals, Toropchenko. Outworked there by Clark, but he got taken down. So now Dvorsky to the rescue to save that puck for St. Louis. Dancing away from Kopitar in the far corner. Behind the goal, now gets a return pass on the near side. Backhanded it up to Fowler left point. Slid it across the hole. Fresh on the ice now is Lindstein. Or I should say Stenberg, the other first-round pick from 2023. There's three of them in the lineup for St. Louis. Shot from the far point, Suter ricocheted back out to center, though. And now the Blues have to recoil. Fowler will snap it right back in. Here's Forsberg getting aggressive in the trapezoid to play it. As now on the far side, Dvorsky ends up being tied up with Edmondson as these two teams battle for it on the far wing. Puck squirted free. Stenberg gave a jolt to Ward. The puck free, though, on the near side for Kopitar. Had trouble with it, wrapping it around the goal. And now Berggren's tied up with Clark. Puck free to the St. Louis winger on the far side, Stenberg. Up to the point, Mayu. Back on the ice here with Broberg. Let it down, loaded Broberg from the left point. Now riding through the trapezoids, the puck away from Berggren, and Ward up the far boards, got it out the center as the Blues were trying to avoid too many men on the ice.
Hopping over the puck there.
Now backing on the reentry, Thomas straight away, trying to go one arm was Mayu on net, but he couldn't get it just inside the near post. And now a puck deflects out of play here at 5:25 to go in the third.
I'll take that effort from Mayu right there. It looks good. The thing that I've noticed about the Blues is their fourth and fifth defenseman. Like the fourth defenseman comes in every time. Broberg especially, he carries the puck in, and when he's carrying that puck in, you can see the form of what they're trying to do. So as always keep an eye on their defensemen getting active.
We'll step aside one last time here in period 2. We're still scoreless between the Kings and the Blues on the Ultimate Sports Media Network. I'm Jaric, that's Jake. We're back with you here on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. Still looking for the first goal, Blues and Kings. It's a face-off to the right of Forsberg's, won by the Blues, but shot right out of play by Forsberg. So we'll try this all again. 5:21 remaining in the second period. Shot 16-14 in favor of Los Angeles. First LA Kings game on the network this year, as tomorrow we'll bring the Vancouver Canucks, and then on next Saturday I'll have a Vegas Golden Knights game for you, and that should round out all 32 teams in the NHL this year, as I try to bring every team every season. Kings win a D-zone draw. Armia moves it up the far wing to center, and the Blues will recoil back in their own zone with that free puck. Mayu turned it right over to Panarin, but he's offsides, as trying to get back onside was Brandt Clark, and the whistle goes with 5:09 to go in the second. What was your takeaway from that play right there?
Not that. I was thinking about the Canucks. You mentioned the Canucks. They were up 6-3 on the Avs.
Yeah, how about that?
Now, realistically, what are the Avs playing for? And obviously, if you're a bottom feeder team and you're going up against the Avs, you know you're going to get up for the game. Like, you got nothing to lose. Let's go play this fun game against this team, you know? And so Canucks up 6-3.
Tomorrow might be a smash spot for the Wild against the Canucks. Vancouver all fat and happy coming off this win in Colorado, back to back in St. Paul.
Game's not over.
Right? Yeah, it's
Kel
true.
McCarr is out, so I think that is definitely having an effect on them. But
good point for sure. Under 5 minutes to go here in the second period from LA. Still looking for that first goal, as you could see on the score bug on the top part of your screen. Is down to our right on the near side. A puck gets knocked out to center by the Blues. Finley going after it. Couldn't quite grab it, but Torpchenko will. As now Parayko waits for Finley to get onside, and he goes after a puck that he put in the far corner. Down low. Finley will grab it. Put it through the trapezoid to the near side at their left point. It's grabbed by Lindstein. Put it right back down low through the trapezoid. Grabbed by Dumoulin for LA. And now the King defenseman put it up on the far wing, tipped into the zone nicely there by Joseph. And it goes behind the goal now for the Blues to try and grab Finley on the near side. Took a hit there from Armia. Now getting tied up was Lindstein. He lost it. Byfield with it. Stuff attempt at the left pad of Binnington that he shut down on the short side. Now behind the goal, Lindstein with the puck. Put it up the far right wing boards. And it came right back to the corner for Parayko to put to the near side. The Blues having trouble here getting out of their own zone. The Kings with good pressure on the forecheck as Clark rings it around to the far side. Right back towards the net did Edmondson put it. On the near side, though, Suter will grab the puck for St. Louis and get it out. Under 4 minutes to go, second period of play. So the Kings reset. At center's Brandt Clark. Far wall, LaFerriere tips it back into Blues ice down to our right. But Parayko twists it right back up ahead. And Clark has to reset here at center.
I mentioned the purpose of the first goal in this game, and it looks like that is what we're fighting for right now. And they still understand that this first goal could be the end-all, be-all in this game.
It could be what's the difference in your season or not, too, which is crazy to say, with still 2 weeks to go in the regular season. But this race is just so close. As now a penalty's coming up, and I don't know who it's going to be on. As three bodies just fell.
It's going to be...
Looks like Hull might go here. We'll see what the call is.
He looks like he tripped up two guys. Somehow he got around behind the net and got a little stuck back there.
So it is going to be a hold on Justin Hull. So he's going to sit for 2 minutes, and the Kings are going to get their first real power play of the game. They did have 36 seconds of power play time in the first period, but now they'll get an opportunity here. Their power play's 29th in the NHL. The Blues PK, as the blue highlighter's nice and dark for me this time of night, 28th on the PK in the NHL. So a big power play here for the Kings, and if they could get this first goal, that'll be huge, as when leading through two periods this season, LA has a record of 22-0.
Hey, you mentioned the forecheck. The Kings get a good forecheck there and end up drawing the penalty with a little ozone pressure.
So it'll be a power play for LA that features LaFerriere, Kopitar, Kempe, Clark, and Panarin. PKers for St. Louis, Finley, Bushnevich, Mayu, and Broberg. Face off to the right of Binnington. Off the tie-up, Kopitar got it to Panarin, who played it to the back. Here's Brandt Clark to Panarin, far left wing circle. Down low, LaFerriere. Back to Panarin, left wing along the boards. Looking for a lane. Down low, LaFerriere. Pass left side for Kempe. Scores! Adrian Kempe, power play goal. And LA has broken the ice with 3:01 to go in the second. So Kempe gets goal number 28 on the year, which leads all LA players. And on the power play, on a nice play from Panarin on the left wing boards, able to get it across with a touch pass from Laferriere. And Kempe beats Binnington.
That's exactly what LA wanted to do, setting up that power play. It was perfectly designed, and Laferriere makes the spin around backhand pass, and Kempe's got a wide open cage he's looking at.
So Adrian Kempe, 28th goal of the year on the power play. 4th power play goal of the season has LA up 1-0. As off the ensuing faceoff at the logo, the Blues will play it on into LA ice. Behind the goal, here's Forsberg to play it up the far wing. Trying to get it is Trevor Moore. He can't get it out. Parayko put it right back behind the cage. It was on the netting as Forsberg hit it with his glove, and it bounced back off the end boards kind of awkwardly. As now in the far corner to our left, Anderson's pressured by a pair of Blues. Holloway trying to take it away from him. Pounce now in the slot, but away from Lindstein. And now a foot race is on. He wants the goalie Binnington to come play it. He will. And now he's shot out to neutral ice. Laferriere has it. Right back in come the Kings. Byfield to the left or right wing side is Laferriere. His shot off the stick of Binnington popped up high behind in the trapezoid. Byfield now played it to the far point. Anderson. His shot blocked in front nicely there by Parayko on one knee. He lugs it now out to the red line and shoots it in. Behind the LA goal, it goes again for Forsberg to shoot to the far side. Right up the wall it goes, but to a blue, it's Dvorsky. Dvorsky tried to give it to Holloway, but he wanted to change, so the Kings get possession back as Anderson now works it ahead on the far side. Put it in front of the Blues bench. Losing it was Byfield. Getting it back now was Otto Stenberg for the Blues, and they're in 4-on-2 if they hurry. Left wing, here's Berggren. Berggren across, and the slot can't hold the feed was Justin Holl, as now it's cleared back to center by Kopitar. And now back is Fowler. So Fowler on the left wing boards for Berggren. 100 seconds to go in the second period. Put it on the far wall for Holl. Squeezed out of there by Kempe. Kings get possession back in their own zone. On the near side, Ceci tried to play it ahead. He won't clear. The Blues will keep it. On the far side, Berggren has Kempe shadowing him. Got upended there. Not sure if a penalty's coming up. Nope, he just lost an edge. As behind the Kings goal now, Anderson in the near corner. Backhanded one up the wall for Kopitar. Fowler poked it away from him. Dvorsky in the near corner, rung it around now for Berggren. Couldn't hold it though. Puck came to Panarin, lost it. Berggren got it back. Left it far side for Broberg, who spins away from Panarin. In the slot, down low it goes, and now it's Kopitar who will end up with it as he played it behind the goal in the final minute for Mikey Anderson.
Another good edge work by Broberg to spin around, find open ice, and get a shot off.
The Blues here have been stuck on 14 shots for a while as now a puck goes through neutral ice and deflects out of play with 47.8 to go. But St. Louis here with only 4 shots in the period, and they've been stuck on that 4th shot for quite some time here. It's been almost 10 minutes of game time.
Yeah, I think that the Kings are doing all the small things right. It seems like they are out hitting, out possession. They are blocking more shots. They are doing the little things right, allowing them to get this goal on the power play and not allowing room for the Blues to have any space to create any plays.
So at center now, face-off won by Lawton against Buchnevich. Now Doughty on the near right wing got it tipped in by Wright. Behind the Blues goal, it's gone by Binnington up the far wing. It'll roll up in front of the King bench. Unable to clear at the moment was Kyrou, but now got it ahead. And into the LA zone it'll roll. Will this be an icing? It will be, with 32.4 remaining in the second.
Yeah, the hits are 20 hits for LA to 9 versus the Blues, and I've been mentioning the block shots, and it seems like it's showing on the shot counter as they've been blocking all their quality shots, and the Kings have pressed here.
So face-off coming up here again in the Blues defensive zone to the right of Binnington. It'll be Buchnevich against Kopitar once more. Kopitar won it back, but the Blues are going to control. Buchnevich tried to play it ahead, but now a bank pass will go towards Kyrou, and instead went off a Doughty skate to Neighbors. He couldn't get over the King line as Kempe took it back. It's floated back to neutral ice now by LA. Broberg in the final 15 of the period. Skates free now through neutral. Fanned on a pass on the far wall for Kyrou. Now gives up on the play and heads to change as Kopitar behind his own net wants one more rush in the final 10 of the second. Up on the right wing is Doughty. Over the Blues line he goes. Flung it on net. Deflects out to the far corner. And that will allow time to expire here in the second period. In LA leading it 1-0 over St. Louis. As shots are 19-14 through 40 minutes of play in favor of LA. When scoring first, they're 23, 6, and 7. And when leading through 2 periods, 20 wins and 2 losses. The Blues, when giving up the first goal, are 8, 20, and 3. And they're 2, 26, and 1 when trailing through 40 minutes of play. So the lone goal scorer, Adrian Kempe, on the power play from Laferriere and Panarin, and LA holds the 1-0 lead here through 40 minutes.
Yep, that period was completely controlled by the LA Kings, and now the Blues stare again at needing another third period comeback and maybe hold on to this one if they need a push. It's now or never as the playoff push is coming to a close.
So we'll step aside for just a quick second. We will come back, though, for an intermission show as Jake and I will discuss the rest of the regular season in both conferences and the Stanley Cup playoffs. You're listening to the NHL Watchalong on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube page. 1-0 LA through 40 minutes. Back in 90 seconds for an intermission discussion. Welcome back in. Second intermission from Los Angeles. Jaric Rubel with you alongside Jake Elder as LA leads this game over the Blues by a score of 1-0 and a goal by Adrian Kempe on the power play from Alex Laferriere and Artemi Panarin. During this intermission, though, let's discuss this push to the playoffs and the Stanley Cup playoffs. And Jake, you said we'll start out east. We'll do just that. And we'll begin in the Atlantic Division, where this is a real, I don't want to say mess, but it's very fun what's shaping out there, because there's a lot of key matchups in these final 2 weeks between the top 4 teams.
Yeah, I mean, obviously nobody expected the Sabres to be here, but once they got in, we knew they were a force to be reckoned with in the top 3 seeds here. But 4 teams, including the Boston Bruins, who people seem to have forgotten about, and they've played good hockey teams and competed during those games. They're just 6 points back, and along with a 94, 96, 98, and 100 points for them, Montreal, Tampa, and Buffalo. Who do we think is going to come out on top?
So we had this discussion in the pregame discussion. I think Montreal is going to win this division, and here's why. And it goes on the schedules. Tampa Bay has an absolute gauntlet ahead of them here in the month of April. They have Pittsburgh tomorrow, Boston on Saturday, and Boston's playing good hockey. Pittsburgh, I mean, it's a winnable game, but Pittsburgh's playing some resilient hockey. They're giving up goals, but they're scoring in bunches as well.
If Crosby's on the ice, the Pittsburgh Penguins can win the game.
And Tampa, they're not playing great. Since the Olympic break, they're 6-7-1 against teams that are in or around the playoffs. And the teams that they really have beat aren't that impressive. They beat Detroit. They beat Seattle. They beat Edmonton, who's without Draisaitl. I mean, they beat Ottawa, which was pretty good, but Allmark didn't decide to play that game last Saturday. So it's not like they've really beaten anyone impressive, Tampa. And then you got Tampa playing Buffalo on Monday. And that game's going to be just all-out war. If you follow the league, you know how the last meeting went between those teams. Then after that, it's a back-to-back in Ottawa. And Ottawa needs points. And you're likely starting Jonas Johansson. Then you play Montreal. Right after that on Thursday, 3 games in 4 nights. It seems very tough. And Tampa, I see them losing a lot of these games. So I don't think they're going to be a threat to actually win this division. I think that the game on Monday, Buffalo and Tampa, is going to be talked about for the Atlantic Division lead. But I don't think either of them are going to lead the division. I think Montreal's going to find a way through as Tampa beats themselves up. Buffalo could find a way. Their schedule is not too bad. But I think Boston's going to pass Tampa Bay here. This is my bold prediction. As Tampa Bay finishes as wild card 1, and Boston, they play 2 day games against Tampa Bay. Boston, great in day games. They're 4 points back of the Bolts, and if they win those 2 games, they'd be tied, and I think Boston would win the remaining games at hand compared to what Tampa has to face.
Yeah, and if we're looking at the form of these hockey teams, Boston is in great form. They have been very consistent, and right now, back to the LA. Lightning, Kucherov was out for 1 game, I believe, in the
Two
middle
games.
of this.
They won both of them, too.
And they won both of those.
Against
That's
Ottawa and against Nashville.
Preds. Yeah. And so he comes back and against the game where you must win. This is a must-win game against the Canadiens, and Canadiens had the lead and didn't look back. And when they scored that empty net to make it 3-1, I mean, they were pissed. And the Lightning are giving everything they got, but I mean, think about how they started the season. They didn't look like the Lightning of old. They figured it out midway and got on a great win streak to put themselves here. But I mean, it's Jake Gensel or nothing right now, it seems.
They're trying to search for that, flow they had going into the Olympic break. They had the 13-game point streak, and they had 38 points from mid-December all the way to the Olympic breaks. They just wouldn't lose, and they patted themselves very much in the standings. But I mean, you cut that in half, 38, cut that in half, you got 19. And it's like, wow, they'd be at 81 points if half of those games didn't go their way. Yeah. And it's just in the perspective of that, it's I never really thought this Tampa team had great depth, especially on the back end. And I think apart from that, hot streak in the dog days of the season, so to speak, it's kind of shown that they are a very middle of the pack roster.
Yeah, and I can't get his name right now, but the defenseman that went crazy, he was scoring left and right for Tampa.
J.J. Moser?
No,
or Darren Radish?
Darren Radish. Without Radish getting 8 goals in 10 games as a defenseman, those were huge goals that he was playing when Hedman was out.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like you talked about the depth. And so you're looking at the Lightning needing to win these games, and it seems more like desperation. Whereas you look at Montreal right now, I mentioned it yesterday. I was looking at scores, and I was like, dang, Montreal's been playing good. You go look at it. They've allowed 1 goal, 2 to the Hurricanes, and then won 7-3 against the Islanders. That's their last 6 games right there. 1 goal allowed in almost every single game. They are in a flow, and this team, we saw them last year get in a flow to make the playoffs, and obviously when it comes down to playoff hockey and in needing size, they didn't have the size. Who did they play last year?
Washington. Yeah.
Washington's
those big boys.
Yeah. And the way Washington was playing on Ovi's streak last year, it was you weren't going to do much. And you watch that series, it was Montreal never stood a chance. They lost 4-1. I think they got 1 game.
Yeah.
And other than that, those games were pretty dominated by Washington. But regular season Montreal Canadiens on this roll, and they got coming up, they have the Rangers, Devils, back-to-back Panthers. That's 4 teams in a row that aren't even in the playoffs.
Very beatable teams.
These teams are eliminated from the playoffs at this point. So, and then they go in and they face the Lightning in a huge game where they're at home.
And that's a 3rd game in 4 nights for the Lightning after you just went to war with the Sabres. You probably just got I don't want to just predict, but like I think that Ottawa would probably smoke Tampa in that game if Jonas Johansson's in that. 'Cause if Ottawa needs the points, I mean Johansson's good enough for 4 goals against every game.
Yeah, to score. Yeah, they can score goals, and can Tampa keep up and have the defense there? I just don't see them having the legs.
And if Tampa falls to the wild card one, like I'm thinking, how about this monkey wrench? They might play Carolina in the first round, and that's something nobody has even like spoken about and even considered a possibility. And just like the fact that that could happen, we're talking down on Tampa, but it's like I think you might take them over the Hurricanes just based on the fact that the Hurricanes are so bad on the road in the playoffs that I would trust Tampa to steal a game in Carolina, you know?
And this is the Tampa Bay Lightning we're talking about. They still have John Cooper and this roster of a team that's proven they know how to win. And we've mentioned before that the Eastern Conference has run through Tampa and Florida. It's Vasilevsky or it's Bobrovsky, and I'm going to trust Vasilevsky to lock it down. Carolina's trusting Boosie, a rookie goaltender. We'll have to see. He's played great, but come playoff time, is he going to be able to hold his own? So that's a very good point, and I guarantee you a lot of people's predictions preseason would have been Tampa versus Carolina in the Eastern Conference Final,
Right.
because Carolina usually gets through that first round. Second round is more iffy, but that first round is something they've been very consistent with.
Yeah, they've won the first round every single season under Rod Brindamore, and some people might think they're due for a loss. I don't know. I think it depends on the matchup. I think there's some teams Carolina could wipe, and I think there's some teams that could give them some fits, because I think if an Ottawa figures themselves out after they've been struggling here, they're dangerous. I think Tampa is dangerous for them. I don't know if any other team will really test Carolina too much in the first round, but in that Metropolitan Division lie the Pittsburgh Penguins, and that's a team you and I think very highly of here going into the playoffs.
Yeah, they are backed by a lot of history with the team, but this present day team with Sidney Crosby, with new head coach in his system, and what Sidney Crosby's done with that is make the Stanley Cup every year he's had a new head coach, and here we are. The Pittsburgh Penguins look like when Crosby's on the ice, they're competing in the games.
And this is going to go back about 10 years now. And this goes, shout out to the great Doc Emmerich. Love the guy. He's a big influence in my sports broadcasting career. Those Penguins Cup runs, he would always be like, and here come Pittsburgh in that span where they could get 3 in a cluster. They're so dangerous with that. He would always mention Pittsburgh scores 3 in clusters. And all I could think about watching this Penguins team, especially without Sid and Malkin when they've been hurt, they get in these multi-goal deficits and they just score. And it reminds me of those teams from back when they were winning Stanley Cups. They could just score at will when they need to, and they'll get them 2, 3 in a cluster. And you talk about Dan Muse, the new head coach there in Pittsburgh. I mentioned, if anybody still paying attention, that was in the second period. 19 times since 2001, a first-year head coach with an organization has made the Stanley Cup final, and that's happened twice with the Penguins, and 3 if you want to include Sullivan's first full year. But in 2009, Michel Therrien got fired, and in came Dan Bylsma, and they won the Stanley Cup. And then in 2016, Mike Johnston got there. I forgot who coached before Sullivan, but Sullivan comes in, and then they win back-to-back Stanley Cups. So Sidney Crosby, Malkin, Letang, their Stanley Cups have all come on the heels of a coaching change. And when you have that background history of 19 times since you and I have been born, we've seen a team with a new coach make it. It's like, hey, that's like a 5-star play in a wide open Eastern Conference. It's like, are you really going to doubt a Sidney Crosby led team that's like meaning business with it? I mean, I think they could beat Tampa in a head-to-head.
In an Eastern Conference that isn't dominated by Florida or Tampa. Tampa is not who they were, and the Florida Panthers don't exist in this playoffs. And if the Panthers were in the playoffs, I don't think I would be able to bet against them. We learned our lesson. We knew that when we were saw what they did their first year, coming back against the Bruins and going all the way to the Cup final as an 8 seed, and then just dominating the year after. And then everyone thinks, oh, they can't do it again. And then Brad Marchand comes in and proves that they can do it again. So this Eastern Conference is wide open. And if I got to put my money on a proven player, it's Sidney Crosby. I mean, they know it's their last ride. He's 38, Malkin's 39. This is their group, but these young guys are playing with so much heart. The pace that they're at, and just Skinner. Can we talk about Skinner?
They're giving up goals at an enormous clip right now, and a lot of it has to do with their lack of defensive play, and they do have to be better in their own end. But you get to the playoff time, and you're like, wow, Stuart Skinner's been back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals. His record in games 4 through 7 and his goals against, his save percentage is all sensational. When the series gets deeper, Skinner actually is good, and I don't get the whole narrative in Edmonton as to why they ran him out of town. That guy showed up when the lights got biggest. And then behind him is Artur Sheloff. And this happened with Penguins and their cup runs with Fleury and Murray. They shared the net and, basically those whole playoff runs. Sheloff's won the AHL Calder Cup last year with Abbotsford with the Canucks organization. So he's played in deep playoff games. He also had playoff experience with the Canucks in 2024 against Skinner and the Oilers. So I think the Penguins have a really sneaky roster to come through a very just like weak Eastern Conference. I think Buffalo and Tampa just beat each other up if they cross paths. And, say Tampa or Pittsburgh meet in the second round, or Carolina meets Pittsburgh in the second round. I think Pittsburgh's going to be able to stand the test of time and be able to come up against those teams. And like I said with Carolina, I just don't like them on the road. If they lose one at home, they're basically screwed in a series.
Yeah, and I'll sit and look at Carolina and still think that they can, do what they do. But it does come down to this first round. It would be very interesting if they played Tampa. But I would go ahead because I'm going to change the...
Okay, yeah, because I was going to say, then there's still the wild card 2 spot, then third in the Metro, and that's occupied by the Islanders and Columbus. And the second wild card could still be occupied by Islanders, Columbus, Ottawa, Detroit, Philadelphia, Washington. Washington and Philadelphia could still leapfrog Columbus and Islanders for the third spot in the Metro. And, I want to see Sid versus Ovi. I'm kind of rooting for the Capitals to get up in there.
4 points between
back.
The two of them. Yeah, people, you think they're fighting for the wild card, but they're still the third spot in the Metro Open. They're the same. They're tied at the same points, so it's like that opens up a lot. But I would like to think that some people are sitting here saying you haven't talked about the Buffalo Sabres, who are 35-8. On a 35-8 run, how could you ignore that? But what proof do we have that they could do it in the playoffs?
Watching them, they struggle to get out of their own end, and I have to watch more of it. And the third periods here going to start to come back from LA, but Buffalo, I think, reminds me a lot of those Winnipeg Jets teams, to where they are fun, they're big, they're exciting, but I think in their own end they struggle to get out of it, and those well-coached teams are going to be able to adjust and take advantage. And with just the lack of playoff experience, it might just hit them like a brick too quick.
Yeah, if these teams are, it's regular season, you make smaller changes, but in the playoffs, if they adapt and start hemming in the Sabres into their own zone, I don't see them being able to defend it very well. So I think the Sabres, fun and exciting, but we'll have to look for them to prove it before they get any acknowledgement.
Real quick, we'll touch on the Western Conference, just like the teams that are already in it. I feel like we've discussed the wild card race at nauseum for a certain amount of points, or times at least on this channel. But Colorado, they're probably going to be the top seed in the West, and the stat is that they are 2-8 under the McKinnon era when they go beyond 5 games in a series. Their 2 series wins came in the 2022 Cup run when they led 3-1. But under Nathan McKinnon and company, when they're tied 2-2 or trailing 3-1, they've never won a series in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And I think a team like Dallas is going to push them to the brink, and that's going to cut them up to bite them again.
2-8 in a series that goes longer than 6 games.
5 games.
5 games.
So if it goes to game 6 or 7...
They 2-8. That is just something that has to be when you showed me that, I know you told me that a couple of weeks or months ago. That's huge. That's massive. It just shows that, all right, maybe they aren't.
And Dallas got that first-year head coach, Glenn Gulletson. But underway here in the third period from LA, it's 1-0 Kings, goal scored by Adrian Kempe on the power play. As St. Louis controls in their own zone, attacking left to right in the third. They need 2 points in this game. I feel like you could stick a fork in them, though it won't be mathematically done for a while. I just think the road ahead would be a little too tough if they're unable to win this game tonight.
Yeah, LA would find themselves in the playoffs after this game, and like I said, it's got to be those overtime difference points that have them here.
got 18 overtime losses, and overall they've won 10 games in overtime. So 28 points total from the extra frame. So down in the own zone to our right are the Kings. Mikey Anderson waiting for his mates to change. As again, the Blues only with 4 shots in that second period. The Kings had 6 shots on goal, so it was 13 shots on goal, my apologies. Read the first period number for a second, as it was a very low-octane period for the Blues. As now off a post here was a shot by Lawton on a wicked pass from behind the goal line by Wright. But now the Blues are out to center, and Holloway has it at the logo. Tried to feed Snuggerud, but it went off a stick. Hull will bash it in. Around the goal it'll go to the far corner down to our right, but a whistle. And it looks like the referee signaling the puck went out of play with 1:15 gone by here in the third.
Seems like Scott Lawton's found himself another opportunity. He's had his opportunities, and he's square blank right in front of the net. Smacks the post with the shot there. I do want to mention we are here with all the hockey games going on. The Avalanche have made it 6-5,
Oh, no.
as we mentioned, and my MVP Macklin Celebrini has made it 2-2.
It's a tie game in the tank, and then the Avs within a 1 here of the Canucks, as I'm sure the Avs announcers over on altitude are jumping up and down, even though it's the Canucks. Those guys are a blast. I wish they had a face cam on themselves like we do us, as those guys are a joy. I love Mark Moser, one of the best play-by-play guys in the NHL. Just puts a smile on your face when you watch the broadcast. And that is what I hope I do for all of you. Try to come across as a happy dude here on the network. And now we're going to see if the Blues could tie this game or if the Kings could hang on and get 2 points and end up in a wild card spot and become just 2 points back of the Golden Knights as well for third in the Pacific Division. Parayko twisting one back into the Kings zone down to our right. Up the left wing boards it goes for Ward. Ward now for Joseph to tip it into St. Louis ice. Binnington in the trapezoid to play it. Lost it. Now got grabbed there by Lindstein as Joseph now got it back. Tried a shot, had it taken away. Now on the left wing again, Joseph ringing it around the goal. It comes up to the far point. Cece stashes it back in deep. Comes back to the near side where it's put down low by Anderson. Turcotte now behind the net from Elk Grove, Illinois, not far from where this broadcast location is. On the far wing, trying to get past Thomas, cannot. Now a whistle. And what do we have here?
It might have been a hand pass.
I was worried they were going to call something on Thomas. Montgomery doesn't look too... now he's pleased. He's like, yeah, that's the right call. He's like, uh-huh. Yeah. As Jim Montgomery, this guy, over the years, has some good luck and some bad luck. He's done wonders with the Stars and the Bruins as he got them to division wins in 2019 and 2023. But just like last year, this guy's had the most brutal Game 7 overtime losses. Every Game 7 he's been in has gone to overtime, and the only one he won came against the Toronto Maple Leafs. So how does that really go over? He lost to the Jets, he lost to the Stars, and he lost to the Florida Panthers, all in Game 7 overtime with division-winning teams. Not last year, but the Blues were the hottest team in the league for 2 months going into the playoffs.
That is not something to be pleased about.
Nope, but here come the Blues. Far wing into the Kings zone. Torpchenko tried to toe drag past Edmondson, and now another stoppage in play is now what's going on. We have a fight behind the play as Finley, his name is Finley, he loves to fight, and he's throwing some uppercuts here against Taylor Ward. Now they're just kind of tied up and hugging each other. They're trying to throw rights, but nobody's really getting anything in, and they'll just wrestle each other to the ground as Jack Finley goes up against Taylor Ward there. Can't really say that was the most exhilarating thing I've ever watched.
But this guy manifested this. He told me before the broadcast that he said, I hope Finley fights so that I can say his name is Finley and he loves to fight.
If anybody watched wrestling back in the day, you know what I'm talking about.
And just ironically, watching the camera fan, I'm in my head, I'm like, it's got to be a fight. And it was Finley. Wrestling him.
Yeah, right, starting with the collar and elbow tie-up. That's how you're supposed to start when the bell rings. That's classic, traditional wrestling right there.
He knows. Stick stuck in between him still.
I should have used it like a shillelagh.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know. Do we know what that is? Do we know what those are? A little staff stick that he had, right?
Yeah, it's a shillelagh.
Yeah. Nice. Well, the fight, as he said, it wasn't that exhilarating. They were kind of like a headlock majority of the time. But, hey, we got a little fight. Maybe that's exactly what a team would need.
Score update from your brother Colin.
It's 6-6.
It's 6-6 between the Canucks and
You
The
know, that's
Avalanche.
got to be just a drunk broadcast right there. Those guys are probably just having a blast. It's the Canucks. It's in a meaningless game, and now it's 6-6. They got to be having a blast there.
1-0 here still in LA. Kings trying to double their lead into the Blues zone, but good job there by Fowler to prevent more from galloping in. Now Hull from behind his own net tried to hit Buchnevich. It missed him. Now in front of the penalty boxes, Dumoulin wires one back in. Behind the Blues net, here's Binnington. Up the right wing boards, it's Hull sending it on the blade of Buchnevich. Now at the logo, it's stopped in by Kyrou. Now it's on net for Forsberg to play as he sticked it to the far wall. Doughty will leave it behind his own net now for Dumoulin as both teams change him up with 16:23 to go in the third period. Kings here behind their own net. One shot on goal this period. The Blues just credited with their first is up on the far wing. Gliding in now is Wright. Right now behind the St. Louis net, up to the left point for Edmondson. His shot didn't make it to the net. In behind now in the trapezoid, grabbed by Lawton. Flung back to the far point, Clark. Slid this way, Edmondson left point. His shot blocked off a knee of Ward to the near side. He gets his own rebound. Taylor Ward scored his first NHL goal 12 months ago against the Flames on this network. Got it now in the slot across Clark. His shot saved Binnington. Rebound to the near side. Sticked ahead by Berggren. Can't clear yet as Ward got involved. And now it does squirt out to center. And now Mayu recollects with Broberg. So the Blues here changing him up as Mayu skates at the logo. Near right side, Berggren over the King line waiting for reinforcements. Down to the near corner, backhanded one around to the far wall for Thomas. Robert Thomas here shielding, looking. Near side, Parayko plays it off a bounce behind the goal. Protects here on Edmondson in the slot. A one-timer by Holloway blocked to the far side. Lindstein will keep it to the far side, trying to clear his Clark. He will. And over into the St. Louis zone, the puck rolls. Parayko now got poke checked by Panarin. Panarin trying to get it. Can't. Lindstein played it away from him back to Parayko. And now here come the Blues again. Right wing Thomas on the logo for Holloway. Holloway now, or I should say Lindstein, as Holloway got knocked over at the blue line. The whistle goes for an offsides. As I didn't see where that contact happened, but maybe you did.
Yeah, Holloway skated into the zone and tried to get back on sides and kind of ran into a man going to defend the puck at the same time. So nothing too much.
So again, a reminder tomorrow coming up on the network. We got a pair of hockey games, Red Wings Flyers with Matthew Owens making his triumphant return to the ice at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. And then it'll be me with the Canucks and the Wild. That'll be an absolute blast of a game here on the network. Hey, the Canucks scoring goals, giving up goals. Maybe it will be a fun one tomorrow as Quinn Hughes plays his former team for the first time since the trade.
Oh, indeed, that'll be huge.
So back now into the Kings zone. The Blues put it deep on the near side. Panarin hacked at it up the boards. Not out. Kyrou sent it deep again. Hull left it in the corner for Buchnevich. Trade spots with Kyrou. Right wing boards near the circle. Pinned up against the glass now by Kopitar, who stripped it away. And now left it in his own zone for Kempe, who played it up for Kopitar to tip into the Blues zone. And it goes behind the trapezoid for Binnington to leave it on the near wall for Hull, who's been out here a lot this third period. Justin Hull on the near side. Snapped it around the Kings net to the far side. Doughty played it back this way. Dumoulin up the boards, connects with Turcotte. Now Turcotte at the red line got upended there by Mayu. Got knocked on his wallet. Meanwhile, down to our left in the near side, Mayu's with the loose biscuit. On the far side, here's Broberg out to center. Pirouette move here on Joseph at the logo. Near side now Dvorsky. Had to just send it in as he was tied up. Played it behind to the trapezoid where Doughty will leave it on the near wall. Flipped up ahead again by the Kings. Bouncing puck at center. Going to be grabbed by Turcotte, but now knocked down by Broberg. Puck now to the corner for Matthew Joseph. Skates behind the St. Louis net. Played it around to the far wall. Doughty chipped it up. More a shot. Glove Binnington through traffic. And he'll hold with 13:44 to go here in period 3. Now a little extra starting up here in front of the blue paint. His helmets are now off. I think that's Matthew Joseph who's without his helmet. As now his former teammates are starting to get involved with him. And funny enough, it's really not his former teammates, as he never played with Otto Stenberg or Dalibor Dvorsky or Jonathan Berggren for that matter. So he's not going up against any ex-teammates. It's just his ex-franchise. But we're going to step aside here in the third period. First time out of 3 in the period. Kings still up 1-0. Let's go. Who got it? They better show up. That's such a... The fact I'm doing it. welcome back to Los Angeles. 13:44 to go in period 3. I'm Jaric. That's Jake. Glad you're with us here on this Wednesday night on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube page. Kings up 1-0 on a power play goal late in the second period from Adrian Kempe, set up by LaFerriere and Panarin, his 28th of the year.
We didn't go over much of the Pacific standings, but I guess we did mention that the Kings, if they win this game, 4 points behind Vegas Golden Knights with a game in hand. So that puts them essentially 2 points with another win.
Is now off a draw. The Kings get possession with the fourth line. Right on that, Armia set up Joseph, but he put it over the crossbar. Puck still behind the net. Came up around to the far point now for Doughty. Long wrister knuckling towards the net. Went wide. Suter grabs it. Pius Suter now alertly played it to Theo Lindstein. Played it straight ahead now to the logo for Toropchenko. Open space on the near side for Parayko. Parayko over the King line. Being pressed to the boards by Dumoulin on the near side. Down to our right. Now Toropchenko trying to pry a puck free. It came to the trapezoid for Berggren. Jonathan Berggren through the blue paint. Near side at the circle. It's Parayko on his backhand. Played it back down low. Around the goal it goes. Grabbed by Doughty in the far corner. Put it up the far wing. It's going to be taken back by the Blues as behind the net once more. Pius Suter trying to get through two Kings is behind the goals. Dumoulin trying to steal it, as is Matthew Joseph, but the Blues are with it. Berggren to the right circle. Parayko's one-timer missed by a mile to the far corner. Up to the wall, or up to the point it goes for Hull. Played it back down low to the trapezoid. Berggren gloved it down. Bouncing puck came back to him in the slot. Back skates looking. Berggren now to the far point. Fowler trying to keep it onside. Can't. As it bounces back out the center and the Blues must tag up. Hull on the re-entry. Onside, said the linesman. That was close.
Perfect
Got hit
timing
off the puck. As on the near side, the Kings get possession back. Byfield chipped it ahead into the Blue zone. It'll roll on the left wing side down to our left. Behind the goal, Pole puts it through the trapezoid. Snuggerud now tipped it ahead. Right back to the Kings. Trevor Moore, though. Pivots on the far wing, right side with a shot. Blockered away there by Binnington to the near corner. On that near corner, now it's Anderson. Tried a tough angle shot. Deflects out of play with 12:05 to go here in the third.
Yeah, good blocker by Binnington there. That shot was almost perfect, top shelf. Poked away. But the Blues had a chance there. They were down low, but once again, the Kings just crashed the net. Right when that puck gets anywhere near like chippy in the front, the Kings crash the net and no shots are getting through. And it's going to be tough. I think that the only way the Blues would get through is a power play goal, or if it comes down to 6-on-5. But Kings are still getting their chances the other way, and that's one of their specialties is their transition game.
So face off here to the right of Binnington, won by Thomas as the Blues control behind their own net. Now Broberg up the near left wing side, skates to the logo, up through center on the right wing. Thomas over the King line, back to Broberg, couldn't quite connect on the feed. Now in the near corner, Anderson played it away from Thomas, as now it's going to be played now on the far side for Ceci. Ceci now played it up ahead, and it'll roll into the St. Louis zone, but it's going to be played off the bench, so they're going to say it deflects out of play with 11:45 to go here in the third. Got some static in our ear, but I think it's all sorted out now. Sometimes the XLR cable behind my board there comes a little loose, but hopefully it all sounds good on your guys' end, as sometimes I never know if that static gets transitioned in through the stream or not.
The Canucks hang on for a big victory.
They got 8-6?
8-6, 30 seconds. I mean, what a game. The Avalanche, I know if you guys are sports bettors out there, Avalanche were minus 400, and you know the rules. And a sports team should never be minus 400. It's just simple as that. It is sports. Anyone can win on any given day.
Face off here to the right of the Kings goalie Forsberg, won and flipped out of the zone by Doughty. Now on the near side at the Blues blue line, Kempe can't grab it. Kyrou will for St. Louis. Played it on the far wall now for Neighbors. Neighbors will shoot it in. Behind the Kings goal, it'll roll. Blues forced to a dump and chase game here most of this game, as they've had very little controlled zone entries. It's now a shot from Parayko goes towards Forsberg. He'll cover as he gloves that one with 11:21 to go in the third. So shots now 22-16 after that shot by Parayko. Cloud counter hasn't updated yet, but I'd imagine it will. But only the second shot on goal here of the period, 8.5 minutes in for the Blues.
Yeah, this is, we mentioned the Kings home record versus the Blues for their last 10 games. It's looking like it's going to come down to the same thing. A victory in regulation, maybe some overtime here.
In the last 4 times these teams have met, it has taken overtime. As the last meeting went to a shootout, the Kings won it 5-4 out in St. Louis at the end of January. Face off here now to the left of Forsberg, as Thomas is out there for this draw with Berggren and Stenberg. Now the Kings not able to win it, as it's played around from behind the goal up the far wing. Parayko having trouble with it, lost it, but Fowler's there to grab it. Has to hurry behind his own net as Ward's forechecking, and is able to play it to Parayko. On the far wing now, Stenberg risks it in from neutral ice. Behind the Kings goal, Berggren centered it right in the slot, but Fowler wasn't there in time to grab it. As now it rolls all the way back into St. Louis ice. Parayko trying to get there as he was bringing a piano with him, tired, and now gets it at least out to center. Fowler on the near side over the King line. Berggren across. Here's a shot off the tip of the glove of Forsberg from Thomas, and now the Kings Kopitar able to get it out to center. Lost his stick in the process, and now just had to stare down the Blues as now it's thrown back to neutral ice, and the Kings end up with possession back as Thomas couldn't grab it for St. Louis.
Yeah, great patience by Forsberg to stay on his feet and get the glove and shut down that high-danger scoring chance.
So the Blues coming back through center. A tip by Toropchenko goes into LA ice. He gives a big jolt there to Dumoulin, who stayed on his feet. Looked like he was going to lose his balance for a second. But on the far wall, Doughty got it up ahead for Kempe over the St. Louis line, right wing. On that right wing, it's poked off his blade by Finley. Came behind now for the Blues Suter. Taking a look and lugs it on the near side for Mayu. At the red line in front of the penalty boxes. Carried it over the Blues. Shot it. Forsberg gave a rebound off the blocker. Came to the far circle. But Turcotte will drop it back now for Doughty with under 10 minutes left in regulation time. Jaric Rubel with you alongside Jake Elder on a Wednesday night on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. Both teams looking here for a pivotal 2 points. Here come a 2-out. Ooh, no, I thought the Blues were going to have an odd man rush, but getting tied up between the benches was Buchnevich. Now the Kings will end up with possession back in neutral ice. Left wing is Joseph over the Blues line. Rode it around the goal to the far point. It rides to Clark. This way Edmondson. His shot seen all the way and gloved by Binnington as he'll take a whistle with 9:26 remaining in the third period. We'll step aside again. You're listening to an NHL Watchalong on the Ultimate Sports Media Network. Back here in LA, still 1-0 in a low-octane game between the Kings and the Blues. Jaric Rubel with you alongside Jake Elder. Glad you're with us here on a Wednesday night as a face-off here is coming up to the right of Binnington, and it's going to be controlled by the Kings, but it's out of the zone as it was 1-2 cleanly. So CC now has to get back. Played it out now to neutral ice with 9:15 to go in the third. The Blues pick it up. Here's Snuggerud. Forced to dump around the goal to the far side. Holloway got stood up. It puck comes back out through neutral. And a foot race between Moore and Parayko now. Moore will put it around to the near corner. Byfield now pivoting with it. Taken to the boards by Lindstein. Puck squirts free to the point. Anderson goes across to the far right side for Ceci. His shot knuckling towards the net. Deflected by Lindstein, I think. Came to the far wall. Binnington's without his stick. On the far wall. Byfield poke check. Now a foot race is on. Here's Holloway after it. Ceci and Byfield got back on Holloway and knocked him over. And got possession back for LA. Things are changing here as they sit back in their own zone. Now on the near wing, a pass from Anderson goes up for Ward on the left side. Taken away by the Blues. Dvorsky now for Fowler between the circles. Goes on the far left side into the zone comes Stenberg. Otto Stenberg to the near side. Pulls up on the boards now for Fowler straight away. Had a shot that knuckles into the near side of the Kings zone down to our right. Played up the wall by LA, but unable to get it out as Armia now tries to move it. Goes behind the goal to Dumoulin down to our right. Turned it over in the slot. Here's Dvorsky. Got a stick lifted by Dumoulin, and the Kings will shoot it right into their own bench. And with 8:05 to go, another stoppage in play.
Yeah, like you said, it is a hard-hitting game and very much like body to body, but it's just a chippy game. There has been not much, I guess, like puck control and setting up the plays. It's more of they took the opportunity on transition and they're getting a transition shot. But it's been pretty much a tight game.
And the Blues here, apart from, I guess, the last two games, might feel like an outlier against the Leafs and the Sharks, where they score a combined 9 goals. But their offense for the better part of March, despite winning, has not really been there. And now in a game where they're trailing, they're obviously trying to find their way. And yeah, with only 7 shots on net since period 1, it's been tough over the last 22 minutes or 32 minutes a game for them.
Yeah, definitely. LA's controlled the pace of this game, and they're looking to put themselves back in the playoff spot.
So face off here to the right of Forsberg now. Byfield against Bushnevich. And now after a long pause, Byfield's able to win it clean. Moving it ahead is Clark out to the logo at center. It'll be taken back now by St. Louis's Mayu. Put it around the goal. Far wall. Here's Neighbors giving a body for Clark. Put it back down low. The Kings, though, able to play it away. Near wall, Mayu's pinching for the Blues. Trying to get it back to Kyrou. Lost it, but it did get to the point where it's covered and played back down low by Neighbors. On the near side, Edmondson took Mayu down. No penalty there, says the official as he waved no. And now back out the center. Moore forces that puck into St. Louis territory. And the Blues take back over. 7:30 to go in this third period. On the far wing, Mayu finds Broberg. He's driving into the backhand, and he couldn't elevate that puck over the left pad of Forsberg as he couldn't get it on target. Back down low behind the King net again. Here's Kopitar on the near side. Put it behind for his defenseman Edmondson. On the far wall, now it's played up by Clark to center. In front of the Blues bench, Thomas ends up getting it back with 7:06 to go in the third. Blues trying to get the equalizer now with the top line. Thomas, far wing, over the King line to the near side. Parayko, a shot save, rebound in the paint. Came back to Parayko, near side. Picked up now by Snuggerud. Jimmy Snuggerud in the near corner to the far. Here's Holloway to the back. Now it's tipped to Parayko. Parayko, a shot, went off the skates of Kopitar. Now gets on it, played in the slot Holloway. His shot went off a leg, back to him near circle. Good shift here for the Blues. Shot by Holloway, save, rebound, save made again. Thomas, a backhander, rolled through the paint and wide to the far post. Grabbed by Anderson of the Kings. They're trying to clear. Now Kempe can't. Kept in by Holloway. Holloway taken to the boards by Kopitar. Now the puck's going to come out as now LA slowly skates to the red line, and the King captain Kopitar snapped it on in. Good shift there, though, for the Blues.
So many chances right there. That Broberg one, he blew by the defense. That was one of their best chances, but then a couple loose pucks bouncing in front of the net.
So back in come the Blues again. Near right wing side, here's Berggren fighting off a couple of stick checks from LA's Dumoulin. Puck, though, thrown back out to center ice. It was played with a high stick by the Kings, but the Blues touch it, so they're all good to play on. On the near side, here's Berggren again. Tied up with Dumoulin. Puck came back to Otto Stenberg as the Kings now were trying to press the Blues at the blue line, on making them knock it in. Now, is this going to be a penalty on the Blues as Suter got tied up with a player? No, we're going to play on. Right wing, here's Mayu. Toe drag in the slot. Lost it. Now Dumoulin back for the Kings will play it ahead into the St. Louis zone. No icing. As now with 5:36 to go, both teams change yet again.
Yeah, it looks like they got tangled up in the middle of the ice and pulled each other down, so good no call unless it was on both of them.
Out to center now, Mayu feeds Bushnevich, who shoots it into LA territory. He goes right out of play, though, behind the LA cage. So at 5:24, the whistle goes. One last break here for us. As when we come back, it's the home stretch as the Blues try and tie the Kings and leapfrog, or come close to leapfrogging them in the standings, and the Kings try and hang on to leapfrog Nashville and own a playoff spot. Back in LA, 5:24 remains in regulation time. The Blues with a couple of glorious scoring chances a moment ago, but a right toe save by Forsberg at Snuggerud, and the follow-up just off the blocker on Thomas as we get a better reverse angle of it, as it looked like it might have just missed the net wide, but
He
Forsberg indeed got a blocker.
With blocker or head or something.
Standing on head. Got the shutout intact here with 5:20 to go in this third period. So the Blues win the ensuing face-off at center. It's thrown into LA ice, but it'll come right back to center for Kyrou. Resetting with Theo Lindstein, now shot up the far wall. Neighbors will tip it into LA ice. Behind that goal, it's Doughty to the near side, Dumoulin. Shot it up ahead, bouncing puck now at center, going to be played by LA as Lawton's in. Lindstein tried to defend on him, poked it away nicely as now Parayko took Lawton down hard into the near corner boards. He's all good though as he gets back up. Puck meanwhile back at the logo at center. Doughty between the benches, wires one in with a slap shot. Played in behind by Binnington. Goes to the far corner for Lindstein. Back this way now for Parayko. He sky hooks one now out to the logo. It bounces over the red line towards the Kings blue. Thomas now can't grab it. The Kings Brant Clark does. Shot it off the near glass in front of the penalty boxes for Trevor Moore. Over the Blues line, he goes to the far corner, spun it in front, couldn't connect with Laferriere. Back to the Laferriere stick it goes, though, as he skates between the circles, tried a shot gloved by Binnington through traffic. So that was a good shot there by Laferriere. But Binner, with the glove with 4:20 to go in the third, makes the stop.
Yeah, Kings produce off the. It's always off the transition. They get off the transition and they get a nice opportunity. But Binnington's been strong. Not many rebounds have let off of him. He plays well behind the net, and it's just the scoreboard that's going the wrong way.
So face-off coming up here to Binnington's right. Shots are 23-21 now in favor of LA. As the Blues now in this period are up to 7 shots as they've put more rubber on that. The Kings trying to hang on here as they win an O-zone draw. Edmondson from the left point put a shot way wide. Fowler on it now up the left wing boards, connects. Had a puck tipped now into the zone by Dvorsky. To the Kings zone in the far corner it sits. Trying to get on it, Stenberg got upended by Kempe, but the puck came up now to Fowler. His shot gloved all the way by Forsberg as he'll hold it for a whistle again with 3:59 remaining in this third period.
Both goalies flashing the gloves right out in front. So it was a good look.
So approaching now through the final stages of this third. We'll keep an eye out for when perhaps Binnington heads to the bench for the extra attacker. Would imagine that'll come within the final 2 minutes, as I think nowadays in the NHL, teams don't really wait for that final minute anymore. It seems like they go a little bit sooner.
Yeah, with just one goal, I would look for them to have some control, but they've had some good ozone control for the last 10 minutes.
They win a draw. Holloway, a shot right off of Thomas' face-off win. Missed to the glove side. Up high goes Broberg. A shot deflected in by Thomas. They've tied the game at a kooky deflection. And the Blues are even at 1. So Robert Thomas gets the equalizer with a deflection as he gets rewarded after a couple of chances before the commercial were stymied by Forsberg. Good things happen when you put the puck on net. How about a double deflection as the shot by Broberg goes off the right skate of Snuggerud, and after it goes off of Snuggerud, it goes off the left inside part of the skate of Robert Thomas and deflects past Anton Forsberg.
Yeah, double deflection, throws the puck on the net, and I would like to say that's probably one of the only shots from the blue line that even made it to the net. For that, most shots have not made it that far. So,
and we were saying this is the low gritty, just block shot playoff style hockey to where you crowd the net. You don't want to let shots get through, and that's what you got to do with this type of game. You just got to throw pucks at the net. You don't got to look for that perfect opportunity. And that time, that's exactly what happened. It was just an ugly goal and something you see a lot in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yep, this looks very similar of a push in the third period the Blues had Monday. And here we are again. The shots are now even at 23 as they've had complete control. So we are staring down the barrel of an overtime game right now, which both teams, I guess, could use the points, even though they are competing against each other. At the end of the day, you want the points.
And if you're the Blues, too, you kind of look at it as, hey, maybe Vegas, too, isn't going to do so hot themselves, and LA leapfrogs them, and all of a sudden you leapfrog Vegas and get the second wild card that way. So, I mean, there's just this is why this league is awesome. Tons of different outlooks and possibilities. But there's still 3:33 to go in the third. Shout out Pat Foley is down to our right in the far corner of the Kings zone. Kyrou couldn't come up with the puck. The Kings muscle it the other way. And Fowler now will recollect. Played it up through center. Kyrou on the logo for Bushnevich. Pass was behind him, but he collects. Got it over the line onside. Far wing neighbors will rig it around the King goal. To the near side now, Parayko can't grab it. It's stashed along now up ahead for Ward to chip on into St. Louis ice. Binnington aggressively out to play it. Almost played it in the restricted area. Didn't, though. Got it to Kyrou on the near wing. He'll leave it now for Parayko, and across it goes for Mayu. Up ahead, it's tipped off the stick of Suter. On the reset, here come the Kings left wing. Pass in front of Moore, though. It'll be grabbed by Mayu as he blew a tire in behind. But luckily for him, Broberg's there for the Blues. And let's hear guy. But here comes Suter. Turned around as Edmondson. Suter in on a breakaway. A backhander save made with the blocker by Forsberg. As now that goes out of play. As that was one heck of an opportunity out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was an awkward bounce off the benches in front, and it just Suter took that opportunity skating forward to fly past the two defenders.
Joel Edmondson was just like stuck in mud. He could not turn and get his hips to get the other way.
It was the weird bounce off the boards. Yeah, you're right. He was a little stuck, but that bounce off the boards was definitely unexpected, and I think he might have shot that wide, just got a little too far inside, but still an opportunity.
Face off here to the right of Forsberg. Top line back on the ice for the Blues. Thomas, Holloway, and Snuggerud. Face off one. Snuggerud, or I should say Holloway, had a shot get blocked off the skate of Anderson. And we'll try this again to the face off dot to the right of Forsberg.
Lafreniere 1 for 7 on the face offs there. So look for the Blues to win. Looks like LA's making a little line change now.
Graphic here on the Blues broadcast is showing us that they've blown 5 games in the final minute. 2 nights ago against the Sharks, 3 times between the last week of January and the 1st of February against the Stars.
Shout out my brother who's a Stars fan. He always reminds us about that. 3 wins in the final minute.
Face-off one here by the Blues and kept it at the far point by Broberg. To the near corner, it goes down to our right. Holloway being wrestled down here around the goal by Edmondson. Puck came up to the right point. Mayu just has to glove it to himself to make sure Panarin doesn't take it and alertly knocked it back into LA ice. But here comes Kempe with it now. Adrian Kempe at the red line snaps it in. The goal scorer for LA played it around. Binnington wanted to play it, couldn't grab it. Now in that trapezoid, Mayu gonna end up with it on the near side after blowing a tire. Was Panarin.
Yeah. And I agree, that was bad. And of course, who else would it not be but Mayhew again.
So Logan Mayu, Jake's boy, going to the boxes. He's been all over this guy for the last couple of games, and now
he sticks
PK.
his leg out and gets a bad trip. And yeah, obviously we don't have the audio, but yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That was so close too. There was not a lot of contact made. It was like the graze of the skate on Panarin.
Binnington's stick also gets.
Was it Binnington?
Oh,
It might have been Binnington, and they just called it on Mayu.
It's just a double, both of him trying to slide it. It looks like they're showing Bennington on the board. So
The Kings power play, though, an opportunity to win in regulation. 2 minutes on the clock, 2:06 remaining in regulation. They win a face-off, too clean, though, so they have to get back in neutral ice. Their lone goal came on the power play thanks to Adrian Kempe, as now they start up on the far wing. There is Kempe. He risks it in around the Blues goal. It goes to the near side. Behind now in the corner. Suter trying to dig it out for St. Louis. Pressed up against the glass by two Kings. Trying to get it Panarin. Bounces around now to the half boards. Kopitar try to fight for it against Parayko. Got it to Panarin. Now it's getting whacked around again. Parayko finds it. He clears it. And 30 seconds have gone by, and this Kings power play as they chase back.
Yeah, Kings are going to look to set up again. Probably do a similar strategy as last time. They scored in first 15 seconds last time.
On the re-entry, far wing Laferriere wraps it around the St. Louis net. To the near side, Panarin with it. Backhanded one around the goal again. To the far point, it's met by Kempe. Played along now back behind to Laferriere in the trapezoid. Pressed up against the glass by Hull. Puck came to Broberg. He shot it up. He shot it down the ice. And back it goes. A minute to go on this LA power play. Here's Forsberg sticking one ahead for Clark. It was out of his reach, so now he resets on the near circle. Now drops it on off now to Byfield. Second unit on the ice for the Kings. Over the red line comes Byfield. He snaps it in. Final minute of the third. On the far wall. Puck's kept in. Now taken by the Blues Thomas. Thomas trying to get by on the far wing, but Lawton did a good job to take him out of the equation. And now the Kings get possession back. 40 to go in regulation. Panarin over the red line. Left wing finds Moore over the Blues blue line. Button hooks now in the near corner. Played it to the back Panarin. Now Doughty. Doughty straight ahead. Far circle. Here's Byfield. Byfield right wing dot. Up top Doughty. Half clapper. Blocked out of play off the skate of Buchnevich. With 26.3 to go in the third. 21 to go on the power play.
They got to be thinking about the late game woes here as we get down in the final seconds. And I mean, it's a power play. They're doing great at clearing right now. But if the Kings get one here, it could be the same story for the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah, that's going to be something if they get one here in the final minute. Back-to-back games. And if you think about it, too, those games against Dallas were late January. So that would be what? 5 times in the last maybe 20-ish games that's happened? That's tough.
Yeah, they got to be thinking about it here. And as they try to make a push to hold them off and get 1 point going in. Kings are content with either one right now. I know
they would tie Nashville in the standings. And if you're the Blues, I mean, you're like, oh, if the Kings get one, then they're just chasing the same number of points that they would have if they won this game in regulation. And the Kings play their next game against Nashville. That's tomorrow night in this building, and they'll meet again on Monday in this building again. So the Kings with 2 big games against Nashville coming up. They've also elected to use their timeout to talk things over here. This is something you thought the Blues should have done on Monday.
Yeah, or Monday. They had the icing with 30 seconds left, and it just felt like a game where you needed to.
An ozone face-off.
If you look at the game of trends, the trend is, it starts here, all of a sudden the team's running with their pace, but then it's another team's pace, and right now it's been the Blues' pace of play. So it's a good reset and could result in a
face off here to Binnington's left. Suter against Kopitar. Suter 0-for-4 on the dot. Wins it clean this time for his first win of the night. Now the Blues on the near wing. Buchnevich played it all the way down into King territory. Final 10 of the power play. Final 15 of regulation. Kempe in his own zone for one final rush. Up on the near wing. Panarin shooting it on in. Around the Blues goal it'll go. On the far side, here's Laferriere taking in behind Kopitar in the final 3 seconds. Looking for somewhere to go. Goes up top, but not enough time for Kempe, as this game is going to head to overtime. So 60 minutes not enough here tonight. And the Blues and Kings tied it 1 through regulation. We'll play a 3-on-3 overtime. The 5th straight overtime between these two clubs when they've met. Back in a moment for the Extra Frame. You're listening to the NHL on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube page. here in overtime. Blues and Kings tied at 1. Kempe from LaFerriere and Panarin got the Kings on the board on the power play. Then Thomas from Broberg and Snuggerud got the Blues on the board. Now we sit here in overtime. The Kings have tied the Predators with that extra point in the standings at the moment, looking to pass them with the overtime win. And Jake, the Sharks have just tied the Ducks as well to force overtime.
Yeah, Macklin Celebrini hitting 40 goals on the year. What a season as an 18-year-old he has had. So the Sharks looking to get another point in the standings, putting them at 76, and now 1 point behind the Kings and Preds. Two major overtime points coming into play here.
So Thomas, Holloway, and Broberg for the Blues attacking right to left. Lawton, Kempe, and Doughty for the Kings attacking left to right. Lawton wins the draw. He'll head off the ice. On will step somebody, likely Panarin. And now the Kings are off as having a spill was a blue in the D zone. Into the blue zone now. Here comes a pass from Kempe, but it's intercepted immediately Holloway. And now up the left wing comes Thomas over the Kings line. Lost possession, but is there for Holloway to grab. Put it in the slot for Broberg. Broberg fanned on a shot, came to the near corner. Now has to get back as Panarin now lost the balance. Thomas takes it. Thomas now in the slot for St. Louis. Looking. Thomas played it in front. Broberg in deep. A backhander poke check. Holloway now on that save made. And now a breakaway for Kempe the other way from the red line in. Takes a look behind him. Takes a shot on Binnington in a right pad save as he stumbles backwards. And now here comes Thomas end to end. Thomas over the red line. Now the Kings blue. Left wing circle. Holloway. Toe drag. Shot blocked by Clark to the far wall. Puck picked up now by Byfield. Played up ahead on the right wing for Panarin. Panarin now dropped it off at the red line for Byfield. Into the blue zone he goes. Byfield in with a shot. Missed to the blocker side of Binnington. On the rebound to the far boards. He played it back in his own zone. LaFerriere will scoot after it with 1:10 gone by here in overtime.
That Byfield shot did not miss by much. Chaos from the first minute.
Now Clark behind his own net on the reset for LA. Banked it up the far wing boards. Turned it right onto Fowler's blade. He'll twist it to Snuggerud, the rookie with it. Up the far right wing boards with speed. Over the King line to the right wing circle with a shot. Blocked now to LaFerriere. Kings now with it. Taking it back in their own zone. Alex LaFerriere with 3:28 to go in overtime. Pulls up again in his own zone. Both teams changing. Kyrou now on the ice for St. Louis as he watches Doughty who has the puck. Doughty played it up on the far wing for Kopitar. Kopitar here in his final month of regular season play in his NHL career. Left it in his own zone for Trevor Moore. Galloping up with it now on the right wing. Over the red and the blue into the blue zone. Has a step into the zone with a shot. He scores! Trevor Moore, what an effort up the right wing. Shot out of a cannon. And the Kings get the extra point and are in a playoff spot out west.
Yeah, Trevor Moore's had those opportunities all game, flying by the defenseman and getting a nice top shelf shot and a game winner, putting the Kings into the playoffs. Lone spot in the wild card too.
So the Kings now up to 78 points in the standings. The Blues still set 4 back of the wild card spot after this loss in overtime. So at the end of the day, the Blues, after dropping these last 2 games, are in the same spot they've been for the last week or so. They're 4 points back of that final spot. The Kings now are finally back in a wild card spot, and they're 4 points back of Vegas for third in the Pacific.
Yeah, wow, what an effort for both teams to come away with the overtime points, and the Kings finish strong. Get that home win, which is a great start for this 6-game homestand that they have.
So 11th goal on the year for Trevor Moore. It's an overtime game winner. And overall on the season, in this season series against against the Blues and the Kings, all 3 games took overtime. All 3 games went in favor of the LA Kings. 2-1 the final in the first one, 5-4 in the second, and 2-1 the final here in the final meeting of the regular season. So still 4 points separate all these teams in this Western Conference wild card chase. The Blues will be back in action Friday in Anaheim. And then the Kings will be in action, as I mentioned, tomorrow, hosting Nashville, as those 2 teams are going to jockey for that final spot at the moment. And that is going to be a big matchup.
Yeah, and another update for this wild card race. The Sharks actually won in regulation, scoring a goal 1 minute and 8 seconds later. A 4-point night for Macklin Celebrini, and the Sharks win in regulation, which also adds to the fact that the Ducks and the Edmonton Oilers remain in a race for first place.
That is a shocking point lost for Anaheim as
Is
they
it
are
2
just 2
points?
points separating them and the
2
Oilers in the Pacific Division. As this Western Conference race has been insane. I can't
They-
say these teams are like the elite ones of the bunch, but it's been quite a fun time
No,
watching it play out.
yeah, watching or the interview where they asked McDavid how he feels that he gets to play in this in this division, and they ask McDavid as the greatest in the world of hockey right now, how he feels that his team struggles and he gets to play in this division, and his comment was a lot of teams are happy to play in this division
Called it a
because
pillow fight.
yeah, a pillow fight. But none of these teams are that powerhouse team, and they're all fighting for a low end points to win this division. So it's
And your brother chiming in here in the chat. 2 big final minute regulation wins this week for the Sharks. Those are 2 goals in the final minute to win in regulation. Yeah, the points that Anaheim gained didn't really matter for the Sharks' fate, but the ones on Monday against St. Louis were big. And those 2 games right there might, for the Blues, it's going to be tough for them now because now they are chasing San Jose by a couple points, and they do have the regulation tiebreaker on them, so they have that. But the Sharks have that game in hand, and they've beaten some of the teams that I thought they were going to lose to, and I thought there was probably going to be a 2-3 point margin between the teams to begin with. So now it's going to be all these teams might finish with 86 points. I seriously think it's going to be 85 to 88 points between all these teams that are in the race right now.
And it's just, I mentioned it to you a while ago about how the Sharks team it's not the real deal in team aspect, but when Macklin Celebrini is on the ice, he is no less effective than Connor McDavid. He is scoring.
He's right up there with McKinnon, with Crosby, with McDavid. He's up there with the best of the bunch.
Because you never count out the Oilers in a game that's they're down by 1. They're gonna get their 6 out of 5, and they're most likely gonna get that goal to tie because it's just so hard to stop. And here are the Sharks doing it in final minutes of just pressing hockey, and now they're showing this again in big moments.
Almost feels like fate too, right? Just kind of like how, I don't want to say it was puck luck how they got that goal and the leakiness of Hofer on Monday, but it was an ozone faceoff win by the Blues, and Mayu went to go and drive that puck in, and then it just went off a skate and off to the races was the odd man rush. So just a puck luck there, and then you get the 2 goals late here, it's just one of those things that feel like fate. And, maybe the Sharks get in. So we look at the Western Conference standings now. The Sharks are at 77. They're 5 back of Vegas. The Kings are 4 back of Vegas. That 3rd spot in the Pacific still up for grabs, though I don't know if Vegas will fall out of it, but it's definitely still worth having the conversation.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. It's Vegas. They have not the toughest schedule whatsoever going ahead. They got the Flames, they got the Canucks, they got the Kraken twice, and I'm pretty sure Vegas owns the Kraken if I'm correct in their head to head. So, as we talk about that though, it's gonna be a fun race to the finish. We've been intrigued in it for about a month now, and now here we are with all the opportunities to have the ending that all these teams are going to be right up next to each other. It's going to come down to the last game.
Both conferences, it's going to come down to game 82 for, honestly, I think it could be 3 to 4 teams in each conference.
Yeah.
To where, the Eastern Conference wraps up, for the most part, on that final Tuesday, the 14th, but there's the Red Wings Panthers on the Wednesday, and then the Sens and the Leafs play on that Wednesday. And I think the Rangers and Lightning as well. So, if the Lightning are trying to finish somewhere, the Eastern Conference is all going to come down, in that wild card race, and then the final spot in the Pacific or in the Metro. It's going to be so bizarre that, a team from the Atlantic might get the 2 points and then end up in that final wild card spot, but then all of a sudden a team from the Metro is going to end up with, that extra point and leapfrog the wild card team and end up 3rd in the Metro. And it's going to end up coming down to 4 or 5 teams within, a point margin.
It's going to be those regulation wins. Mm-hmm. It's going to come down to it at some point here, and so, do you
know what would be hilarious? Just for all you people who watch the NHL and have learned of the heartbreak over the last 4 years, if the Red Wings, through all of this, somehow on the final day have some miracle happen. Because I just think back of that game in Montreal a couple years ago where they had that big comeback win. They scored in the final 10 seconds, and then empty net goal by Washington as Torts pulled the goalie to try and win in regulation for the Flyers to get in.
Yeah.
And then Washington got the empty netter and then inevitably was swept by the Rangers.
Just the most butterfly effect things are so amazing in the NHL because it's such a close. It is a league that is actually so close and so even, and that's what makes it so good. And you never know. Any given day, these teams can. It's the best sport in the world.
Any closing remarks on the night before we get out of here?
No, I mean we've covered pretty much everything, and we've talked past, we've talked the future, and we talked tonight. So I think it was a great, hard-fought game overall, and an exciting finish to the rest of the year.
Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight, Jake. It was a pleasure having you alongside for the ride. For those of you still with me, I'll be back live tomorrow for the Canucks and the Wild, live from Minnesota, as we get Quinn Hughes' first game against the team that traded him back in December. And then Matthew Owens as well is on the call for the Red Wings and the Flyers, a big Eastern Conference playoff race. That'll get underway at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. My game, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. That's again tomorrow right here on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube page. It's the final here tonight in overtime from LA as Trevor Moore scores the overtime winner against the Blues 2-1 in overtime, and the Kings have now leapfrogged the Predators for the final playoff spot out west. Again, my name is Jaric Elder. What did I just say?
Wow.
That was a good exit too, and then that just happened.
And then that ruined it. My name is Jake Elder, and that's Jerick.
There we go.
The best play-by-play caller on YouTube, all right? So
thank you guys for tuning in. Hope to have you back for the playoffs, and we will talk to you all throughout the rest of this week here on the Ultimate Sports Media Network. So long, and good night, everybody.